Welcome everyone to the FATED ARPG podcast, number 149. Welcome to a very special episode, guys. Today, we're back after a 4-month creative break, taking some distance, looking at it all from a different point of view. But I just couldn't not come back for this very special episode where we're celebrating 10 years of GamerForLife. And for that, with us here is not only my lovely co-host, Balormage, but also the man himself, GamerForLife, aka Dracunia, and the living Bramblejack meme, Seth, who everyone knows for the "This is bollocks" clip. I just tried to do that on stream. I tried to do the jump because I thought it was so lovely, like when your legs were all up in the air in front of the camera. What a spontaneous moment. But yeah, welcome everyone to this panel. There's a lot of things to talk about. I don't want to go into too much detail about my own stuff before I gave everyone a chance to introduce themselves. So, well, since you're the special birthday child, hi, how are you doing, Dracunia?
I've been better. I'm very tired. How are you?
Excellent. Like, I've been looking forward to this. I've been planning this and organizing, communicating between people, and I'm very hyped to be here today. And
so am I.
I'm happy to have you join. Now, how are you today, Seth?
Doing great. I appreciate you reaching out. I was actually a little bit surprised as it came out of the blue. I haven't done podcasts all that much before. And when you mentioned that it was going to be regarding the 10-year anniversary, at first I felt old because 10 years, longer than I anticipated, didn't realize until you pointed that out. But now I figured if GFL was going to be on board, then I'd be more than happy to stop out in. So I appreciate the invite. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah, you certainly have a special place in all of our hearts for your memes on the GFL. And like just like we saw right now, the top 10 GFL clips of all time has your voice moderating and guiding through the entire video.
Yeah, I will say
his voice has always been the best part of GFL. Let's say that.
Yeah, I did realize, like, at the time, like, some of the things I said inadvertently ended up becoming like catchphrases throughout the video. And there'll be some instances where there's not a clip by me specifically, but the sound bites make their way in, and those often get quoted in chat, which it's always funny to get little cameos like that.
So Farion, how would you say if you are confused about something you see?
Oh, that's the classic, the fuck is this shit? Would be the go-to line.
I think I may have said that on stream myself in that exact cadence, just imitating it.
I've done that
without
too.
maybe not even knowing it. It just became like a thing.
You forget the origin of where it came from, but like it's a thing.
I think I remember the moment because it was so random. It was a random exile. I think it was called Bolt Brown Fur. He was using Sunder, but the problem was he was on the opposing side of the wall, and he couldn't get to me. So I don't know how the exile knew I was on the other side of the wall, but he just kept spamming Sunder over and over. So my reaction was one of stupefaction, and then I just went, "Yo, the fuck is this shit?" And then that's kind of that became the clip in the soundbite.
Yeah,
That's
that was
just
amazing.
random.
I actually laughed a lot when I saw that. The facial expression, like, the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it was just bewilderment because I wasn't quite sure what was happening in the moment. But yeah,
that was really amazing. One of the best sound bites of 10 years.
yeah. No, I appreciate it getting as much traction as it did. Wasn't expecting it to become a catchphrase the way it had, though.
Yeah, in the moment you never know, but I mean, just like the Ziz clip that we watched earlier and stuff. But before we go into all these clips, welcome back, Balormage. How have you been?
Fantastic. A little bit burned out on ARPGs in general right now, but still pretty fantastic. Found a new game to play that I think is going to be Game of the Year.
I've been watching you play that. I'm very tempted to get it myself.
It's on Game Pass, so it's real cheap.
Tempting.
For anybody who wants it, it's the Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I had never even heard of it until the day it launched.
So for you-
2 hours
and-
before launch, chat was like, "Yo, have you seen this game?" And I was
what
like,
kind
"Nope."
of game is it?
Oh, I can't even describe. It's almost a genre of its own. It's got turn-based combat similar to old school Final Fantasies, except it's not just turn-based. It's also got quick time actions when you're attacking, and you have to dodge, parry, and jump at the same time. So it's active, but also turn-based.
That's what it's so cool because like you get to have both the conditional turn based and the real time like your own reflexes for offense and defense.
And then you wouldn't think that it was even going to be like that when you first start playing because the movement is so smooth and so good, and there's like the jumping and the grappling and the mounts later on, and like everything in the like outside of world stuff, the movement was all so good that the first time you enter combat, it's a surprise that it's a different system because you're like, this all works so smoothly, you expect this to be the thing, and then there's like a whole different thing that also works smoothly. The story is in the first 15 minutes of this game, some ninjas snuck into my room and cut up onions near my eyes. Okay, I didn't see them, but like there was just eye irritations going on everywhere. Like it's insane.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I've been playing pretty much nothing at all. Like just Backpack Hero on the side. I've like taken a step back from Path of Exile in January because I was frustrated with a great number of things in my life, not just Path of Exile, but the Path of Exile added to it, and then yeah, I've not been playing since then. I haven't had any touch at any go at the Legacy of Frisia or the 0.2. I've thought maybe I'll play a little bit of Last Epoch, but I haven't done that yet either. But maybe after this podcast I'll jump in. Who knows? But how have you guys been doing Path of Exile and ARPG wise? I mean, I guess not all of you have been playing Expedition 33. What are you up to currently, Sif?
So I played basically all three, but with varying degrees. Frisia event, I will say it did surprise me, especially with the way the ascendancies worked, because they really threw shit at the wall to see like what players could come up with. It was insane. Some of them were very broken. I ended up doing Righteous Fire again. It's such a comfortable build. I was using the Scavenger Ascendancy. Its main shtick was that a lot of the key nodes, they take certain modifiers from uniques just wholesale. So for example, you can take one which is the Cloak of Flame, and you get the 40% of the damage you receive is converted to fire damage, I believe. And there's a whole host of other uniques. So that was a very like specific and really out there thing. So you can literally just take the key things that make a unique what it is and just have that embedded in your character. And I just messed around doing RF mainly because with the Settlers of Calgar, it's the first time I got to 100. This is prior to Frisia. I followed Pox's build naturally because the Righteous Fire God himself. That was the most solved build I've ever seen. Even someone as inept and smooth-brained as me could not mess this up. So I was able to very comfortably get that to 100. So I decided to redo that in Frisia. But I didn't. The only issue I had with the Frisia event is while the ascendancies were cool, and it was definitely a very different approach, they added the idols as well. So I'm not sure how much of Frisia you checked out yourself, Catmaster, but
not at all. Like I just I saw maybe one Ascendancy teaser, but I did deliberately not engage with any content about the game or any teaser announcement material because I just wanted to have a step back so that I can come into it with fresh enthusiasm.
Well, broad strokes, the Eyeless Passage tree for that event had been shelved, and instead you could get idols very much in the vein of Last Epoch, and they have very specific modifiers, and if you get the right combination, you can very heavily leverage the mechanics that you want to pursue. The problem I felt, it is the most first world ARPG problem. I can't believe I'm saying this. There was too many things on the damn maps. I was completely just overwhelmed with in one map you could have Expedition.
20-minute maps.
Yeah, exactly. You could have Breach, you could have Blight, you could have Expedition, you could have Essences. I was like, bro, listen, I'm all for content, but can we like tone it down a bit? So it was still fun. I had a blast, But my main draw when it comes to these types of events is the league mechanic. And as much as I love GGG, I like me some Settlers of Calgary. Bring on the cowgirls, as we like to say. But there is a limit to how long I could be interested in that mechanic. I was
Play the same thing.
Yeah, it was very draining. So from once I had my fair share of RF Scavenger, I then tried obviously PoE2. Not to be controversial or to catch some flack. In the grand scheme of things, yes, I enjoyed PoE2. However, I tapped out of this. But I tapped out of it way earlier than I thought I would. The reason behind this was when it first launched, I think most players didn't really mind how long it took to get through the campaign within reason, because it was all new. Like nothing was necessarily solved. We were just kind of throwing shit at the wall, see what works and what doesn't. And we all hit certain parts of the campaign where we thought, this is getting a little rough around the edges. For me, it was late Act 2 and most of Act 3 where I felt like there was a lot more friction and resistance. But I didn't think too much of it when I played it the first time, because it was all new. And I had a Stampede AoE melee type build, and it was fun. I completed all the tiers, etc., and I felt like good. And when they showed what was coming up next and the reworks they did for Endgame, I was very excited to jump back in. So I decided to do Essence Drain Contagion, pretty well. And then sometime in mid-Act 2, I started to feel this consistent sense of, I can only describe it as, ugh. That's the only way I can describe it. It wasn't feeling as enjoyable. And I felt like I kept having to, I won't say force myself. I had to like rev myself up to play. I was like, I shouldn't be having to do this. It should. And if folks kept saying, just get to match, Seth. It'll be fun. I'm not a big fan of anyone who says it gets good after X, Y, or Z. It should be good right from the jump. Now, now let's be honest. This could be skill issue. This could be me just sucking at the game, and I'll accept this. This could be just me. I'm just old, and I'm just not as good as at playing games as I thought I was. But I thought, what I'll do, because there are going to be patches that are going to roll out, and they did kind of smooth over some of the rougher edges of Act 3, kind of condense some of the zones down, and made a few other tweaks here and there. So I told myself, I'll return to PoE2, maybe after a few more patches roll out. And then between that time, I've now since shifted to Last Epoch, which I've been having a blast, though I would like to have played more of it. I'm kind of, much like Baylor, I've kind of veered off into other games. I'm playing, believe it or not, Baldur's Gate 1. I'm going to go through 1, 2, and then work my way all the way back to 3. And I'm going to be doing generally an evil playthrough. I'm going to be a complete raging psychopath. It's going to be a blast. And then eventually, I will mess around with a whole host of ARPGs again. So I'm kind of ping-pong in between everything. So I'm happy with PoE 1. I really hope we get some more content sooner rather than later. PoE 2, I'm waiting for more patches to roll out to maybe smooth off some rough edges. And as for Last Epoch, I'm still in the process of locking horns. I've gotten to monoliths, and I still need more time to give my opinion on that. But that's more or less what I've been up to. Sorry for the long answer.
No, that's great. I asked a very long question with like sub-questions. So
yeah.
Also, I think it was good that I, right out came and admitted I hadn't played anything. So you gave a little bit of context for the listeners who may have skipped those events or league releases as well. But let's hear it from GFL. How much PoE do you play? Because I know after a long day of work, you told me your hands hurt and you can't play as much as you'd like to.
I haven't played PoE since November 2021.
What?
Yeah, I can send you the screenshot of Steam if you want to. I played a little bit of Path of Exile 2, but nah, it's not for me. And I abandoned it.
Jesus.
I'm more into game developing now. I'm trying to make my own games, but once again, the time is and the energy is lacking. Maybe it's aging, maybe it's exhaustion, being burnout. But yeah, the last time, I don't even remember what I played the last time I played Path of Exile. It was November 2021 anyway. Yeah, and I am probably the worst Path of Exile player in the world. I'm going to tell you something. You might not believe it. Okay. But I killed that series for the first time after 3,000 hours.
Oof. That's
no
rough.
joking. No joking.
I think I might have done the
3,000
same.
hours.
Maybe I played more hours before
I
I
mean,
killed the Ziri the
to-
first time.
Yeah, to be fair, I think mine might have taken longer because I always played hardcore and I was too afraid to face
Yeah,
her. until I-
exactly.
So I don't think that's as bad as you might think. Although you might say, well, I was playing softcore, so I should have done it quicker. But I wouldn't feel too bad about that.
Well, I was keep getting mirror reflected.
Oh,
So I built a trap, a trap build to prevent that. so I was spamming arc trap. I believe that was the first build I used to kill her. Then I tried to do a summoner, but as I said, I was really bad. Mobs kept on targeting me, and I was getting frustrated. So I quit, delete the character, then retry again, then die, retry again, etc., etc. I think I killed on stream. How do you pronounce it? Cyrus?
yeah.
Yeah.
Serious.
Cyrus, yeah. Cyrus.
Yeah.
After, I mean, it was like coaching from everyone on stream. Do this, do that. I didn't even know what they were telling me half of the time.
Sounds
what?
like my stream.
What?
Serious was a really tough fight in when it first came out. That was a big frustration of mine. I have a personal hatred with that boss, specifically the final phase. The one move, the Thrill of the Void. I'm so bad at avoid, despite having given step-by-step instructions by Don the Crown. He posted a video how to avoid that, and I still get sniped by that thing. But yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes I play some indie games once in a while just to relax, but then I try to code my own game in Godot. But it's so incredibly difficult. Flipping out every single thing you want to do. You think there's something logical and direct to do. No, there's something wrong. You have to study high-level quantum physics to understand what the heck was wrong. Why can't I just do this? No, it's a different type of variable. It's the same variable. No, one is an integer, the other one is a float. Okay, now let's see how to convert it, and so on and so forth. Every single line of code, there is something wrong, and it's quite frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm into 18,000 lines of code for the first game I did.
Jesus.
And I reached such a level of spaghetti code that when I want to edit something, I was like, nah, screw it. Nah. I don't have the energy. No.
But for
Forget about
PoE, if you haven't played since 2021, you're still like playing vicariously. Is that how you pronounce it? Through other people, you're like enjoying the game through the lens of like watching streamers and especially the highlights. I mean, you have to curate them and edit the videos.
You know,
Or at least do part
unfortunately,
of the work.
Unfortunately, I'm a way too honest person, and the answer is no. I do not enjoy it. And because it's now more of a job than... it started as a passion back in the day. I was really passionate about Path of Exile, about making highlights as funny as possible. Then you must understand that after all these years of doing pretty much the same thing, I almost have 1,000 highlights now on my channel.
I would think it also just becomes a formula, right? Like you already figure out what works, and now you just put stuff together.
Yeah, less of an artistic process and more of a like factory job.
Yeah, that's what you think, but sometimes I do things almost identical. Sometimes I got a nice result, and sometimes I'm absolutely not confident on doing something, and the result is incredibly good. Oh, okay. Sometimes I say, "Oh, I can't wait until people see this edit," and they go like 70% likes, and people boo, take it off.
And no one even notices or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember distinctively. I superimposed a nuke explosion, a 3D nuke explosion, over a touch of God that killed the entire 4-man team. So Domino's was the touch of God, and I superimpose this nuke, and people hated it.
Yeah.
People were like, you were alternating the gameplay footage or what? Like,
No, people like, the fuck is this shit? No, not to quote you, Sophia, but yeah, people hated it. Bloody hell, I thought it was good.
to be fair, I can completely relate to this sort of feeling like you're in the dark about what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong as a content creator. There's like very little direct feedback. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. And even if people tell you that this or that aspect you're doing wrong, you can't rely on that being accurate. Yeah, it's so hard to exactly know what is something I need to focus more on and what is something I can I can sweep under the rug.
Yeah, even in part that I was absolutely certain it would work. It was an absolute failure. When I started doing the AI music outros with it was like 30 seconds of a song with the lyrics, of course, related to the episode that just ended, and with a nice editing in between, I thought people would enjoy it. My God.
I take it the opposite reaction. I think the reason why that might come about is that once, like, but prior to that, I think your videos had a certain format, and I guess when any sort of like something new is brought in, there's probably going to be some friction. Some folks, have a old man mentality. Old man yells at clouds that they don't want it to change, whereas others will be inclined to embrace it. So when those two butt heads, it can kind of feel like if you're asking yourself, should I continue this new line and hopefully folks will like it, or should I step back and go to what is already known and familiar? So I can understand if you suddenly get like a lot of backlash, it can end up feeling very very demoralizing.
Yeah, because also you have to pay €10 a month for the AI songs. They are not free. Yeah, but I try something that in the other way, I think this is shit. This is gonna have a massive backlash. I was already ready to edit it, to cut off that part, and instead people absolutely was in stitches. they loved it. I understand that AI is not very liked generally. Whether
That's a
it's
controversial
AI,
topic.
AI images. For example, there was this last one of my latest videos. Basically, there was a part where some mobs should come out of a tunnel, and they were very late, like 10, 15 seconds late. So I made an AI 5 seconds clip of the monsters in the break room.
Oh, the 3D one, yeah. I think I saw the video, yeah.
My goodness, people were angry about
it.
How
fucking dare you use AI? No, there was I saw the comments.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that the mobs were taking a break and not coming out immediately. Yeah, they didn't actually like it very much. All right, I can take criticism. I actually like criticism because it allows me to improve.
But any sort of engagement on YouTube is also good engagement, right? Like, I mean, unless you're being called out for like making really like bad faith claims or something like that, as long as people are leaving comments and like voting up or down and like watching the video, I think it's fine. I mean, as long as the watch time isn't compromised.
And I think everything you ever make is going to get criticized by someone.
Like, that's true.
I've spent the last 2 months criticizing, or the last few weeks, I guess, it feels like months, criticizing the entirety of PoE2, which is like the company that I love and the game I'm hoping is successful. And
I'm right there with you. Christ, PoE is what got my stream to where it was, so it feels really bad to rake them over the coals.
Yeah, and it's also, I think it's healthy to actually express your opinion without any filters.
But especially because I've got like a few people who work in the building that I would like consider friends. But it's just not good right now.
You have to distinguish friendship from, let's say, work. I don't. There is a specific word in Italian. I don't know if there is in English.
And
Basically,
art. I mean, like, if
yeah.
a friend of mine shows me some beats he made or like a rap track, then I'm like, I mean, I can't tell them it's good if it's not, right? It's like
Yeah,
that would
exactly.
not be good friendship either. Of course, you can't shit on it right away when they show you and be like, this is garbage. But you
Can't
have to
you?
be like, well, I like this or that about it, but there is, I see where you're going with this, but I would like maybe try instead, like try to be diplomatic about it.
Yeah, you will make him a disservice by lying. If it's
Yeah.
absolutely crap, and you say, "Oh no, that's good," he thinks it's good.
Yeah.
So when he when he
It's
goes
like-
in public and he sucks, you have some responsibility on it.
It's how you feed it back. If you say that's shit, fuck off, that probably would not be the best way to articulate that. But yeah, I think it's more how you feed the.
I knew I was doing
negative
something
criticism
wrong.
Yeah, because that would be constructive criticism. That would be something else. Like, the rhythm is bad, the rhyming are bad. That's a different things. Maybe give some advice. Think it's shit. It will not be
well received.
fruitful. Not even useful in my opinion.
All right. Yeah, before we go into this whole segment of, and I really want to delve into that, like constructive feedback about Path of Exile 2, first of all, because I myself have some things to say because I haven't played in a while and it has something to do with the constructive feedback that I would have. But also, I'm just curious about like the most recent patch because I haven't played it, so I want to hear your opinions. But before we do that, I think we all want to go back to that place of enthusiasm and of passion for Path of Exile, and like think about where we all were 10 years ago when a GamerForLife started making PoE highlight video content. And I think, yeah, tell us yourself, GFL, like where were you in life? Like what made you, what inspired you to do that?
Well, basically, I used to be a school teacher for 5 years, but the payment was the bare minimum to survive. I mean, small apartment, no car, no payment, no mortgage. The
What
bare
subjects did
minimum.
you teach?
Informatics science, computer,
Oh, nice.
in middle school. And after 5 years, I said, no, sorry, this is not gonna work. I have to leave. Sorry. So I quit teaching and I found a job in a factory. It's a very hard job, but they pay decently at least. But it's consuming. After 8 years, I thought, no, this is not my job. This is not my life. I cannot wait for retirement here. So I've always been a very big fan of action RPG. I started with Diablo 2, Baldur's Gate. Then Path of Exile came out, and I said, they have some very good ideas. I mean, you can create a very, very powerful combination with these support gems. It was still the time when support gems had no graphics. You had to put the mouse cursor on every single gem to find that one. That wasn't even a search box. So, oh god, yeah. Okay, wait. I want increased range. Okay, mouse. No. On a full tab of gems. But I saw the potential. I played it a lot. I mean, a lot. And one day I wanted to see what is the rarest item in the game. It was, of course, Mirror of Calandra. So I looked for a compilation of people dropping the Mirror of Calandra, and there were none. So I said, well, there's a void. I might fill it.
There's
But
no supply. There might be more demand.
Yeah, but it was the beginning of all the copyright strike controversy when people could copyright strike everyone for every reason out of nowhere. Even people looking at the grass, copyright strike. Literally, there was a video of someone, the only thing he did was looking at the grass, and he got the copyright strike.
Nice.
And yes, again?
During
You got
that
a copyright strike?
During that period, I got copyright striked for the sound of rain and thunder that was coming from my real life that sounded too similar to the sound of rain and thunder track that somebody owned.
Copyrighted Mother Nature. That's
Copyright. copyrighted by Mother Nature. That's what the notification said. All your money will go to Mother Nature now. So I said, okay, I'm gonna cover my behind, and I started asking for permission from everyone I use content from.
That was all still in the very first period of time where you made that content, or in the first year, I'd say.
The first year of the channel?
Yeah.
I think it was the second. I don't remember exactly. But I stayed to 10, 20 subscribers, then 50 subscribers. It was wow. I still had notification on for people who subscribe to me. I received an email. Oh, let's see. Oh, yes, someone subscribed. Then I plateaued at 500 for probably 5 months. No new subscribers. I was flat on 500. Then Zizoran had the nice idea to watch one of my highlights on on his stream, and bam, massive influx of so many subscribers that YouTube blocked the subscription for a while because they thought it was a bot raid,
Crazy.
Nice.
Because it's just out of nowhere and all at once.
Exactly. You see a massive increase of subscribers, and then minus 200 subscribers. And then he came back up. So I owe him dearly. I always said that I'm in debt. I will never forget people that helped me. Never. Even 20 years later, I will always remember them. And so that inspired me to make better and better and better videos. I had a very bad PC back in the day. Very bad. I mean, it took probably, I would say, 4 hours to render a single video in 720. I couldn't watch a video during editing in real time because it would skip second by second. So I had to guess what was going on while editing. So I used all my saving to buy a better computer, and so I could make even some special effects that otherwise would not be possible. Where I lived, I had a very slow connection. It took 14 hours to upload a video. So I had to make it very, very, very much in advance. Like I finished working at 4 a.m. during the night shift. I edit all morning. I upload it, and let's hope it's gonna be ready for the deadline that is always 4:30 p.m. I don't remember why I chose this time exactly, but it's always been 4:30 p.m. Italy time.
I think that's like a sweet spot for because your main markets are going to be Europe, USA, and well, I mean, I don't know how big the Asia market was for PoE back then.
Russia is the same. Russia is the same as the United States in demographic.
True. That's also huge. Yeah, but it's I think European afternoon is early to late afternoon, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. is sweet spot because it's late night for you Australians and New Zealanders, and it's still early enough in the day for American people. For everyone, it's a relatively good time. For no one, it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and then when I reached 1,000 subscribers, I applied for monetization. They granted me, and I remember I had to force the tears back into my eyes when they said accepted, because I thought, oh my God, this is the beginning of a new life. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can leave the job.
Do you get accepted first try?
Yes, and I remember the first month. I gained $7.
Yeah. Oof, high roller. Woo!
And I said, oh my God, it's almost a pizza. Then
I remember when I applied, it was I applied right when I hit 1,000, and it got rejected, and then again at 1,200 it got rejected, and then again at 1,700 got rejected, and then when it hit 2,000 they said yes. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, I got accepted immediately, maybe because I made them an offer they can't refuse. But anyway, jokes apart. Yeah, and then
I was getting scared.
Yeah.
Mafia connection.
No, that's forget about it. Anyway, then when I started earning decently, and I'm thinking about the first time I reached $1,000 that month, I don't remember what league it was, I got demonetized. I tried every avenue to get remonetized, and I reached literally a one-to-one conversation with a YouTube representative, and he said, well, I'm paraphrasing, you are never going to be monetized again. Not with these words, but basically that was they didn't even send me the silver button. They refused to send me the silver button for 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And even in that case, I went one-to-one with a YouTube representative, and once again they said, no, you do not deserve it.
Which is like surprising, because you would think you did all the right things. Like, I've got messages from fucking years and years and years ago where you were like, hey, I'd like to include some of your clips. Can I use them? Like, you've gone out of your way to get permission, stitched everything together.
Yep.
Like, as a highlight channel, what else could you possibly have done?
Exactly.
What's the reason they give? Was it something like it wasn't like transformative enough? Was that the reason why, or did they not ever like specify? Because that would drive me insane, especially if you got
technical. Yeah, the technical use was reused content, and they
but there's so many reaction YouTubers and everything out there, right?
Yeah.
Like Asmongold is literally only reused content.
And
it's his whole brand.
Yeah, and they pointed me to the clause, the I don't know, the law, not exactly law, I forgot the English word for it. Yeah, that's the rule. That say, even, and they highlighted it, even if you have permission from the content creators themselves. Oh, come on. I feel like you did it for me, specifically.
Yeah, but well, like, I remember at some point between your demonetization and now, I asked you about, like, can't you not have like a narrator do the narration thing? And then did you bring that up with them? Or, I mean, I understand that you didn't do it if, like, literally a person, like a representative, tells you to your face, you're never going to get monetized again, no matter what you do. Yeah, sure, I understand that you didn't put in the effort to try that, but I always figured, like, if it was more like an Asmongold reaction video, if it was more like a, hey, here, this is how that happened, and contextualizing and explaining how the death happens or why a drop is so valuable or something like that, wouldn't that have worked? Like,
yeah, basically, when you get demonetized, you have a lockout period before you can apply again.
Right.
And it's 3 months for the first time, 6 months for the second time, and 1 year for the third time.
Ooh.
So in the first time I got demonetized, I said, by the way, even if they decline, it's the period resets. Basically, in the first 3 months, I had the same exactly idea as you did, Catmaster, and I included my own voiceover, making stupid jokes or explaining how the event happened. For example, when an item poofed, I make comments like, did you really think that was not going to happen? Or something like that. So after 3 months...
I think I remember that, but that was like a little bit sparingly still. Like, it was not like a full-on moderation throughout the way.
Of course, if I comment with my horrific Italian accent, every single clip, people would flee.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you could exaggerate it a little bit, you know, like do a little bit more Mario style. And
hey, what did you think? It was gonna happen differently. Hey,
that would be glorious.
Mamma mia! Who did you think you were? Eh? Maybe making a South Italian accent as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, And after those 3 months of voiceover, I reapplied, and once again they showed me the metaphorical middle finger. And then the last attempt was they said make a video, a private video, where you explain exactly why do you think you deserve monetization. We're gonna watch it and we're gonna decide, and that's gonna be the last time we're gonna do it. So I did it because I'm not gonna change completely my content just to get monetization.
Yeah.
And I did it. I explained. I showed the fact that everybody has granted me permission to do that. I showed all the effort I go through. It's 10 hours to make a single video, 10 hours of work. I showed them the fact that I have to pay collaborators because I'm working shift in a factory and I can't always do whatever I need to do to make videos. I show them I have expenses. I show them I do everything ethically. And once again, they said, no, not enough. All right, then.
So disheartening.
Yeah. But I was expecting it, honestly. I did it just because I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to think in the future, maybe if I did it, maybe things went differently. But I knew they would deny it to me. And So
the thing is, I'm so sure if like some big streamer, like not only Asmongold, but like if anyone made a channel, watching every single GFL episode with their face on it and commenting, talking all the time over it, they would not lose their monetization. They would probably get away with it. But just you, because it's you and your unique history with talking to them, they say, no, you're not worthy for some reason. But like if oh my God, it's so frustrating.
Very frustrating. And as I said, I've been in the red for the past 7 years or something like that. Because
since
I have
demonetization, basically.
Yeah, because I have to pay the collaborator, which is 120 euros a month. I have to pay the 3D artist, Drankowski, which is awesome. Every league start, 50 euros. Every league start, I do a giveaway, and I'm not going to renounce to that. And back in the day, I used to pay editors to make some cool clip. If there is a clip that deserves some very nice, I don't know, animated subtitles or a special effect when someone finds something cool, I would pay those 3D artists, but I had to give up on that. And lately, things went so bad that I had to put the other collaborator on hold because I just couldn't afford it. I have to reach the end of the month in the end of the day.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like costs of living have been exploding, and like it's like I used to have, even though I had less overall income, I used to have a bigger portion of it that I felt like I could spend freely, more or less. And it's crazy now. So I'm super happy also with my decision to step back a little bit and to like pursue an actual career for now for income security.
Wait, are you saying being a streamer is not an actual career?
Heresy.
How dare you?
Well, I'm saying some people can make it work well, and I appreciate that, and I wish them all the best. And I what's the word? I'm happy for their success. I celebrate their success. Just for me personally, it's never been working because I refuse to structure my content and the way I work on it in order to capitalize on it as much as possible. It was always for me like a passion thing, and as long as I was able to do it in the way that I have passion for it, it was fun. But if you rationalize the fun out of it, it just becomes a really, really bad, poorly paid job with bad job security, at least in my case. Then there's people like Zizaran who are effectively millionaires, but right place and right time and tons of dedication. Like I wouldn't have the energy to work as hard as Zizaran is working.
Yeah, well, I mean, for as much as I love Zizaran and I really, really love him like a brother, that is not healthy.
Oh no, you can't do that all your life. And it's like, I met Zizaran. He's a very swell and sweet dude, but he's also, I don't know. Like,
I mean,
a
there
little
was-
bit of a weirdo, like in a nice way.
No,
but it's
there was the Red Bull phase where he got himself, the heart palpitations. But he's generally been good about it, and he's taken steps even
No.
during these. Okay, maybe some of it seems like kind of long, especially when it comes to legal launch. I'll give you that. That can be a little unhealthy, but I think he's been better about it.
No, he's been good about it the last like few years.
Yeah.
Not at the
Well,
beginning.
I think we could all agree when he first started. Yes, that was pretty intense. Pretty intense.
That was unhealthy.
Yeah.
It worked though.
Yeah.
Didn't he do like the world record for?
Yep, the most hours streamed on Twitch within a month. That record has since been beaten, but he was the first one to like establish something like that, which definitely like got his name out there. That was an insane amount of time one had to dedicate to pull that off.
I was so happy for him when he was the actual #1 streamer in the world for a moment.
Yeah. Well,
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the most viewed Twitch streamer in the world. I don't know for how long period of time, but I was so happy for him. I've always been happy for his successes.
yeah, he's come an insane long way, because I remember when he first started streaming, and PoE was his go-to, and he's one of the few people, like generally when folks start streaming, I think most will agree it first starts off hobby, doing it purely for fun. You go into it with relatively low expectations. He was, this is going to be my job, and I'm going to fucking make it work. And he's one of the few people I know that actually went in with that mindset and succeeded as a direct result of that. And it's nothing short of freaking impressive that he's pulled it off. And still,
I remember he told me that he put away 6 months of living, and he said, if I don't succeed in this 6 months, I'm done. So he basically had a 6-month tank, let's say, and then. But I'm so happy it worked for you. I'm so happy he's happy. He's a very nice dude. Nothing to take away from you, Balor, but I'm joking.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I've
reason I
met
started
Balor and
streaming.
Ziz both in person, so I can 100% confirm Balor is not as nice as Ziz.
Oh!
That's definitely true, though.
Okay.
No, I love
Good
you,
times.
bro.
Good times.
And now we jumped like ahead a little bit. I didn't mean to I didn't want to interrupt you, so we like did the whole history of GFL, or like 80% of it already.
I could be a little bit talkative.
No, that's
Sorry.
great. I mean, that this is here to celebrate your channel and your content and like what it means to us and to our content creation journey in the past 10 years. And I don't think letting you talk for 20 or 30 minutes would overstate that. I think that's very appropriate, and we also wanted to hear all that. It's just I wrote down questions to ask for it, and I didn't need to ask because you gave us that. But the question I did ask before we went on that little history journey was like, take us back to where you were in your life and your mindset 10 years ago.
Sorry.
when the first content came out back in 2015. But no, you answered that, and then but I wanted to give Balor and Seth a chance to take us in that time machine back to that time and date. And
you're
I
gonna
think
go
it was
first, Carlo.
during Beast League. Right? No, wait, it was 2015. It was after Bloodlines and Torment. So what was the league after Bloodlines and Torment? What was 1.5?
I have no idea.
Oh, I can't remember.
Omen. No, wait.
Is that
Ancestor.
the talisman thing already?
I think it was. Wait.
Wait, I'm gonna go
I'm-
to the
I'm
PoE wiki,
Googling.
check out the.
We got Goose saying it was warbands, but did that overlap with another one? Because Hardcore and Softcore had different.
No,
mechanics.
Warbands was together with Tempest on the release of 2.0, right?
Yeah.
So when the Act 4 came out, Bloodlines, no, was but you're right. It was then Tempest and Warbands.
Oh, there you
I
go.
thought there was something between Bloodlines
Well done,
and
Goose.
Torment and
You're right,
Warbands
yeah.
and Tempest. So it was basically Oh yeah, right. That was before they did their 3 month cycle. That was actually a really long wait because
Oh, yeah.
Bloodlines and Torment started in December 2014, and it was not before July 2015 that we get Warbands and Tempest. So like all the way from Christmas to summer, they had events going, right? There was this 1 month event with the Seraph and the Cerulean armor set that you could get.
That'd be miserable to have a league that long.
Oh,
I mean, heaven forbid if
Yeah,
it lasted
imagine they
that
did
long,
that
yeah.
nowadays. Well, I mean, if we get bangers like Warbands and Tempest on the full PoE 2.0 release, but
nothing beats Legion.
I personally thought Warbands was pretty okay, which I played at the time. Tempest, I didn't see many people have too much fun with. But
One league I completely skipped for Bestiary.
you skip Bestiary?
Completely.
It was between Abyss and Incursion, dude.
Yeah,
That
I know,
was like-
but I'm too much of an
Of a
animal
Pokemon
lover.
hater.
Yeah.
Of a what?
Animal lover.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, right.
Murdering them was fine. Trapping them not.
Well,
I don't like you anymore, babe.
But yeah, like, okay, I'll start. 2014, I just stopped playing League of Legends. I got out of the LoL trap for good, finally. Last time I quit, basically. I promise. Like, only very, very minor relapses after that. And then I played a little bit of Hearthstone, and I got super frustrated with some things about it, and then a friend of mine had already told me that they want me to play Path of Exile, and I had already made an account back in 2013 or 2012 when I first saw the game on Wings of Death's stream, when he like alt-tabbed out of League of Legends queue and booted up Path of Exile, logged in to slay some monsters, and I was like, hey, this looks a little bit like the Diablo 2 that I used to play when I was a child. And then when I started playing in Standard, I got hooked relatively quickly on the concept because it just felt like a raw improvement over like all those systems from back in the day from PoE from Diablo 2, which I never got to experience fully because I was a child living at home and I didn't have access to the World Wide Web. I was just
Child.
like,
How old are
Yeah.
you?
it's a secret. No, I'm 37.
Okay.
You're not even the oldest one here.
I am the oldest one for sure.
well, how old are you?
45.
What? You
Oh,
sound
okay,
so
younger.
young.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say you sound a lot younger by comparison.
I thought you were younger than me just because of the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. But no, September 79.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Old school gamer then.
absolutely. I had Pong.
What, you had a bomb?
Pong, not
Pong.
Bong. Always thinking about those things, you. And
Hey, it's legal in Germany here now.
Context.
yeah, I don't do. Just for the record, I've never done drugs in my life. I don't smoke.
I
and
would
don't
say
do
the same thing if I
drink.
was on a podcast.
Nah, don't. No, really,
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd lie. Wait, what? Huh?
No, seriously, I've never done drugs in my life. Anyway, go on, please.
Well, where was I?
A child living at home.
Yeah, exactly. So like PoE was like, oh, this is the Diablo 2 I never got to fully experience because I didn't have internet and I couldn't play online. And then I relatively quickly developed hardcore ambitions, and I played a character to level 50 in hardcore without dying, and I got my elemental resistances capped, and I thought I was the hot shit. And I started playing, and then when Bloodlines Torment came around, I instantly started the league in hardcore in Bloodlines League and got my face pushed in by blue monsters spawning on Tidal Island, and yeah. But it was not as bad as the Beyond League before that, which I quickly experienced as well. So I was feeling right at home, and I made it to Cruel, and I went into that zone that doesn't exist anymore between the ship graveyard and the other. There was like an additional zone that cut away with like a
Shit, I
purple
forgot
lighting
about that.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Before you get to Merville's, I think, was there a middle area or something, or are we talking later?
Somewhere. I don't remember. I think it was between the climb and the ship graveyard cave,
Yeah, there was like a one
or
extra
the
area, right? I think.
or the prisoner's gate. I mean, yeah, and the purple lighting, and there was like a little pack of crabs like unburrowing, and I just insta-gipped the entire pack of crabs without thinking about it. And I mean, why should I think about it? Because I didn't know what Bloodlines mod existed. But turns out they were a corrupted Bloodline pack. And obviously just entered Cruel. I didn't have a bleed remove flask. I didn't even know corrupting blood was bleed at the time.
Yeah.
I knew very little about the game mechanics, and I just instantly died. Couldn't pot against that degen. And yeah, and that's basically when I got like really sold on the idea. I want to get good at this game, and I want to be good at hardcore, and I want to make some things happen. And I had drive and passion, and basically continued all the way until I got softened down by chat and Balor to go to Softcore, and that was my slow and certain decline into complete degeneracy, but not in a good way, not in a successful degenerate way, but in a, I don't know.
Maybe that's what you need if you ever come back. Just come back in hardcore.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like
Keep
take
that, like,
a
feeling.
1 year break and then directly go into hardcore, and then just keep pushing through. Every time you die, come back stronger and stronger. Learn more and more. Just like back in the day. Let's just hope that PoE2 is going to be a banger when it comes out fully. I mean, we got like 10 or 20% of the finished game right now, so I'm not even going to judge it too harshly. But before I take all the talking time, where were you back then, Seth, during that long gap semester between Bloodlines Torment and the 2.0 release?
Well, I still have it's private now, but the first ever stream I did of PoE, it was the 13th of October 2015. It was actually on YouTube. So I'll give you a quick history. I'd been streaming as a hobby for a very, very long time. I was actually streaming on YouTube originally, and the reason that came up was YouTube had just unveiled the option to. They kind of sent a message website wide saying, like, this is the early design of it. Do you want to try it? So I thought, screw it, why not? You know, I'm already making content on YouTube, and this is a very easy way to just have something put out live. And the person that helped me, Quicksilver, he was the same chap who me and Ziz knew way back when. He actually convinced Ziz to stream in the first place. He also convinced me to do it. But he helped me set up PoE. And I can still hear his voice in the original VOD. We're kind of just shooting the shit, trying to get it to work. It was very, very scuffed. And I ended up streaming on YouTube initially. And the problem I had with YouTube back then was it was great with being able to interact with people that already knew of your channel. Terrible to draw in any new viewers. So I streamed there for a while, and eventually my chat said, just go to Twitch. Like that seems to be like where most folks are congregating for all things streaming. And obviously I think that things have changed since then, because there's a lot of streaming activity on YouTube. But I ended up setting up an account on Twitch, and I ended up streaming there. But the funny thing was how I came to know about PoE. I can't say I neither hated nor liked ARPGs because I hadn't played any before. And I remember back in my WoW days, round about when like Cataclysm was out, Blizzard had an offer where they said if you buy a year's worth of sub time, they'll throw D3 in as part of it. So my friends are like, you gotta play this, man. It's like it's gonna be hot shit. Like D2 was great. I know you haven't played Diablo 2, that you gotta play it. I thought, fuck it. I'm probably going to end up being sub to WoW for the year anyways. I'll just pay up front. It'll be slightly discounted. I'll get an extra game. I have never seen hope at its peak crash to rock bottom when they could not get into D3. I was looking at men whose spirit had been broken. Now, I was able to wait because I wasn't waiting for the game. Eventually, we all got in, and I had fun. I played for maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months. My friends were crestfallen because what they had experienced in D2 was not what they had experienced in D3. It was quite a frustrating experience. So they ended up filtering away. And coincidentally, this is even, I'm not sure, I don't think Ziz was streaming at the time, but me and Ziz used to play a full loot MMO PvP game called Darkfall. And they started talking about PoE, and I was like, what's this Path of Exile you guys are talking about? So I ended up downloading it, and they were playing on hardcore, and I joined them on that. And the first thing two things that hit me is when I looked at the support system, the gem system, I was instantly reminded of Final Fantasy VII, like its materia system. So I already got his hooks to me based off of that. Then I opened up the passive tree, and then it reminded me of Final Fantasy X. Its leveling system was called the Sphere Grid, and it was very similar. It's like this huge screen with interconnected nodes. So that got me interested to the point where I thought, okay, well, let's see what this is all about. So I started playing PoE, and then eventually that led to me streaming PoE, going from YouTube, then going to Twitch. And then as time went on, that's kind of like I realized folks were predominantly watching my shenanigans, all things PoEs wise. But the part that made me stand out, and it's kind of silly, I find myself in a very difficult situation where so one of the health issues I suffer from is fibromyalgia. Now I might not show it here, but I'm in varying degrees of pain at all times. Might sound bad, but when I get a nerve pain flare up, it can be frustrating to say the least. But in most day to day, I'm generally all right. The problem was that I could not play Path of Exile like most normal people could, because the keyboard and mouse input constantly would really do in my digits. So I had the rather stupid idea to see, I wonder if I can get this working on a controller. Well, the problem was back then, Path of Exile was not on console. There was no console UI. So I remember talking to Ziz's mutual friend, Quicksilver. I remember shooting the shit with him, saying like, could this work? Could we get like some kind of setup? And he said, technically, yeah. So I searched for something that I could use to keybind as much of the mouse and keyboard to the controller. And the first ever build I did was Summon Raging Spirits, because once I knew I could move and I could use flasks, I just needed something to throw the skulls of Summon Raging Spirits out there. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started streaming it. And when I started streaming with a controller, I started having folks coming in saying, are you really playing with a controller here? So that's kind of what drew attention. So I was the random psychopath on Twitch that not only played on a controller for a game that had no controller support, but I was also stupid enough to play on hardcore. Now fast forward 10 years and here we are. But yeah, that's kind of my history. I started on YouTube, went to Twitch, a bit of back and forth, and somehow streaming stuck. I don't know why, I don't know how, but yeah, I guess the rest is history, really.
Nice.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that. Valor, your bit.
So mine was around that Bloodlines time as well, as when I first started playing. And I was looking for a game. I was working 70 hours a week in a job I hated. It's an entire career I hated, like to the most amount you could possibly hate a career. My life was miserable. But I got to play like 15 hours a week of video games, and I was playing WildStar, and WildStar closed. And that was very, very, very sad. And so I was looking for another game to play. A friend of mine was like, play Path of Exile. You should play Path of Exile. And so I came over there around Bloodlines. I think I wasn't playing an hour when I was like, yeah, this is absolutely my game. We're staying here. This is fantastic. Straight into hardcore immediately, because that's where they played, because that's where everyone played back then. Like I don't think anyone played softcore back then. It just wasn't a thing.
Hardcore was the place to be, especially if you wanted to make content.
And so, so I don't know, a year or two after that, I don't know, whatever's about 7 years ago now, separately to that, I ended up quitting my career. With no plan on what I was doing. I just was like, I cannot. I walked out and was like, I'm never ever walking into a print shop again for the rest of my life, with no idea what I was going to do, just that I was never going to do that again. That was the plan. And by the end of that same day, I decided, you know what? I'm going to make content for a living, and Path of Exile is the game I'm enjoying, so we're going to go start doing that. And so I went home to my parents' house, which is not where I lived at the time, and told them that I wanted to come back and move back home to play video games for a living. So that was a list. That was several conversations over a week.
Like, great idea, son. Let's do it.
How their fully grown adult hasn't lived at home in ages child has gone, hey, I'd like to come move into the basement and play video games for a living is somewhat difficult 6-7 years ago for a few boomer parents to understand.
I've been there.
But luckily,
What a
they
surprise.
said yes. So
Look at you now. Look at you. You
so I
got
moved
a
home
fire
and
pit.
it was
You got a
only
fireplace?
but it was only this year that I've started to be able to like make a livable wage out of it. Like I've been not drawing on savings for about 1.5 years, 2 years, but that's only because I'm living here. I wouldn't have been able to live on my own. It's only because of like the support of parents that I was able to live here without costing them any money. But also, like I'm paying my own way to be here, but that's still a lot cheaper than living alone would have been. Right?
That's my precise situation. I'm living in my folks' place, and if I was like in my own apartment, absolutely not. Wouldn't work.
Yeah. And so this year is the first one where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of making enough money that I could live out of home now. But it's like I could, but then I'd be on like shoestring budgets. I'd be back to eating a lot of ramen and shit. And I'm just you'd
essentially be me.
Yeah, I like ramen and all, but do you know it would be even better than that? Since I've got my own space, I built this whole downstairs area. Obviously not this area. This is fake green screen.
What do you mean it's fake?
But I built all the rooms down here when I decided I was going to move in.
No way, it's fake. I always pictured myself sleeping on that couch when I come visit.
Hang on, you tell me that you don't play that piano behind you? Come on.
Yeah,
The fireplace is always off.
Anyway, I thought since I've got all this space here anyway, and it's all separate, and I've got a separate entry and all that sort of stuff, I was like, there's no reason for me to not just stay here and just give every cent that I can to pay off my parents' mortgage. And then when the mortgage is gone, they'll pay me back without any interest. Because it's not the money, it's the interest that's bothering us.
Yeah.
So, because that's money that disappears. So I was like, well, I'm happy here. You guys are happy here. I'm not costing you anything to be here. Let's just stay. Because now instead of like 12 more years to pay off the mortgage, it'll end up being like 6 more years to pay off the mortgage because you get one extra wage in it and it's suddenly way quicker. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And then like after that, when that's all done, then you can slowly save up and pay me back whatever I've paid. And then I'll go take that big lump sum and buy my own house. And then I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's a much safer option with a decent amount of security as well.
Yeah. I was like, now that I've seen how much interest home loans get, I'm not pleased with bank. I don't want to. They're taking money. It just disappears, man. It's just gone. Who's got spare money these days? I don't. I don't have spare money. That's not a thing.
It's also so disproportionate in comparison to the income, like how much money you have to spend on your living situation these days, comparison to like 10, 20, 30 years ago.
And so also, on that note, it also means I started my first stream with the full intent of making content for a living. I wasn't nearly as successful as Aziz did it, but I'm getting there. And I would heavily suggest against that. That was the wrong way to do that. Don't do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not only the wrong decision, but the way, the approach that I did. But yeah, please let me go.
And for about 1.5 years, I streamed more PoE every single week consistently than every single other person in existence. I beat, like, this is when Ziz was doing Degenerate Hours too, and I did like 600 hours more than him a year.
Jesus.
But, yeah, it was ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, which is crazy. That's why I'm so familiar with how unhealthy that is. It is very bad for you.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
But yeah, I mean, that's how I ended up here.
Are you happy now?
Yeah.
Good.
Even with only just like barely making enough, it's like the career that I came from, I wouldn't exist today if I had to keep doing that.
I resonate with this so much because I didn't mention the job I did. I did 10 years of work in customer service, with the last 3 or 4 years being tier 3 complaints. So I had some of the most like complex cases to resolve, and one of the worst shifts was I was off Friday and Saturday, and I was in early 12-hour shift speaking to the most angriest people on the bastard planet. So when Baylor mentioned that he walked out of his job and never wanted to go back, you have no idea how much that resonates with me. Because if I had to go back to a normal job, it'd probably be call center related, but I would much rather not. Anytime streaming kind of feels like I'm grateful. I get to play video games for a living. It's great. But obviously, we can agree, a fair few of us, it's very difficult to often make ends meet. And sometimes you start questioning, is it worth it? But then I just picture that stupid cubicle with that stupid fucking headset on, hearing the beep, and then the next caller coming and raging at me. You know what? I'll play video games for a living. Thank you.
That's where I am too. You're like, sometimes you look at your bank account and you're like, I'm doing like way more hours and way more work for so much less money than I would make just working at McDonald's.
Yep.
And then I'm like, but what I did before made me want to like, and I'm just like, this, I'm happy now though. So do I need more money? No, you know what? I'd rather be poor and happy. Thanks. I'm good. We'll keep working. Hopefully it continues to slowly pick up. We get to a comfortable spot. Great. I'd just rather be poor and happy.
Did you do a dramatic resignation at work?
No. We were having an argument. I was having an argument with the boss's son because he was an absolute idiot, and he technically was also a qualified printer, but he like did his apprenticeship under his dad, barely figured out how to run anything, and then hadn't touched a machine in 10 years. So like, you're not qualified and you don't know what you're doing. You've just got a certificate, right? Like that sort of level. And I was arguing with him and I was getting very irate, and he was getting very irate at me. And he said, if you don't watch it, you're fired. I'll fire you right now. And I said, it's been a pleasure working here. I shook his hand instead of continuing the argument and just picked my bag up and walked.
Did they run after you?
I just never walked back in. That was it. I never answered his phone calls. Nothing.
Oh, he did try to call you.
Yeah, I was done. I never walked back in. I don't know what happened.
What about the old, maybe with 50% more pay, I'll come back?
No. Nope. Never answered the phone call.
Damn. What about you, Seth? Did you exit dramatically?
No. For me, the reason I got into streaming, I was in an awkward position. When I got my diagnosis, it was awkward because when you work at a call center and you have my type of diagnosis, what they try and do is to try and have you work in a different position. But in a call center, all you can do is work at a call center. They provided me with all the ergonomic equipment they could to make it comfortable, but there was not much that could be done. But there was a point in limbo where I kept experiencing my nerve pains, and my employer says, we can't have you working until we have official diagnosis. But our National Health Service has a significant backlog. It was going to take anywhere between 6 months to a year before my diagnosis, before I can get tested and get my diagnosis. So I decided in that 6 to 1 month window, I had savings. My employers haven't fired me. I'm still getting sick pay. I'm going to use this 6 months to 1 year window to see, like, I've been streaming part-time and it is giving me additional income. I said, fuck it, YOLO. Let's just see if we can make this work. And somehow Twitch said, yes, you are someone who we want to give partnership to. I don't know what the hell they were smoking, but because that succeeded, once I got my diagnosis, I ended my employment amicably. And then since then, I have been streaming, and I've had times where my pains have been pretty tame. Other times they've been damn near apocalyptic. But I'm in a much better place than I was if we go all the way back to like 2014, 2015. So I didn't have any sort of dramatic exit. It was more of waiting for my medical results. And then once those were in, and I was very blessed that streaming panned out, that I got the partnership on, I had a relatively smooth exit after that.
I'm dreaming of the moment I resign from the job. I'm dreaming. Seriously, sometimes I buy some scratch-off ticket just for fun, and before scratching, I'm thinking, what I'm gonna do if I actually win big.
But you don't win big on scratching tickets, do you?
You can.
Yeah, that's a
What kind
5
of, like,
million.
what's the biggest? 5
5
million?
million.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
several
But you're
million
never
dollars
gonna get
statue
those.
tickets here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you're
cost
never
it
gonna
cost
win.
20. Well, it cost $20, 20 euros.
That's
But
the bigger ones, yeah.
No, I only know the cheap ones, and you can, like, here in Germany, and you can win like $10,000 maximum, and you never win those either, right?
And I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I don't know.
That resonates so much. I can tell you exactly what that is, Kat. What that is you're never gonna win. That's not
Exactly.
like that's not a thing. But
Yeah,
it's
but
doesn't.
someone does
You're not
win.
buying it to win.
Yeah.
You're buying it because the possibility that you might win
Yeah,
might be the only thing that gets you to next week.
Well, hold on there. A person that drives trucks that bring goods to the factory where I work actually won 500 million.
Yo,
Okay, so you're saying there's a chance?
Exactly.
yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
He lives
Half a
like
fucking billion.
500 million.
Oh, 500,000.
He
Still,
lives 70 meters from me, and he had like 4 years to retirement. The first thing he did, he took 1 month off. He went to Maldives. I don't know how you pronounce it. The
Island group.
Yeah, exactly, the Maldives. And his boss said, "No, I can't give you a month. Fire me." Of course, he didn't.
Fine,
So
me.
if,
Do it.
yeah, he finished his 4 months, 4 years. Then he retired. And sometimes I meet him because he lives very close to me. And the other day he told me, "Do you know the bad thing about being retired?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Me neither." And I felt a very big sense of
just rubbing it in.
Yeah, I wish I could quit my job and do game developer, game developing.
This is how I know that I made the right choice doing what I'm doing.
I
'Cause
agree.
I used to
You
think about
did.
that all the time, but now I think, what would happen if I won like $10 million? And like the answer is like, I'd have a way more comfortable chair and a way better computer and a way better setup. And I'd have artists and editors that were really good that worked for me.
Yeah.
And I'd have a chef's meals cooked and
Oh,
a
less
personal
pressure.
trainer helping me work out.
Yeah.
But this is what I'd be doing. I'd just be doing this, but better and with support in a healthier body and more comfortable stuff.
Heck yeah!
But I'd be doing this.
I'm with
still.
you.
Yeah. No,
And I'm
absolutely.
like, that means I've picked the right thing. No matter what, that's it. This is it.
Yeah.
So you heard it
envy
here,
you
folks.
guys.
For any oil barons in chat, be sure to donate to Catmaster. Copious amounts of zeros at the end of that number, please.
Thanks. Yeah, it's gonna happen inevitably. One day, some way, we're gonna make it big. I know it.
Yeah. Keep on working and keep dreaming.
What did I want to say? I wanted to say once again, also that resonated so much with me because I didn't know before that you worked in customer service as well, Sif. I mean, I didn't start my streaming endeavors like actually trying to do it full time and like on a regular basis and generate income with it until end of 2017. And what I did right up to that point when I started for 1 year was customer service at a company that's called TNT Express that doesn't exist anymore. It's part of FedEx now. And yeah, entry-level customer service. And without going into too much detail, I just, in the end, I was so annoyed with it. And there was like some minor upset. Like once I was sick and instead of giving them like the part of the slip that they're supposed to get, I gave them the entire thing that had like information on it that was only from the doctor for me, and like it leaked what I told the doctor, and then they had like a bad impression for like because I was overworked and like stressed and like basically they knew that I didn't have like a physical illness, but I just told the doctor that I can't work. And then when the 1-year contract ended, I got into the boss's office, and they like, it was like a weird setup because they made me think that they were gonna extend my contract, and they were like, yeah, what do you how do you relate to this job and this and that, and I was like, well, I mean, it was a really weird question to begin with, and I just was like, well, I take it serious as you do a job. Like, I come here, I do my work, I go home, I take care of myself to make sure that I come back here, and then they like, yeah, told me that they were not going to extend the contract, and I was like, okay, sure. Went back to my cubicle, right? And I sat there staring at the wall for a while. I was like, hey, it's 2 weeks until the contract's end. Oh wait, I still got vacation days. And I just told my team manager, well, I'm going home now and I'm not coming back. Bye. Said bye to everyone and went home, and directly next day bought a microphone and started setting up stream overlays for OBS and everything.
Was there plastic on the floor when you walked in the office?
Say again, sorry?
Was there
there
plastic
on the floor?
on the floor? Yeah, when you walked in
I think
the
it was a
office.
carpet.
Okay, so it
He
wasn't a
doesn't-
hit. Don't worry, you weren't
Yeah,
getting.
he didn't get it.
Oh.
No, I didn't get it.
Oh my
What's the
god!
reference? Is it like,
If you walk into a room and plastic is on the floor, they're going to kill you.
oh, right.
Dexter.
That was too far fetched from me. I thought, like, I instinctively thought that no, I
So
thought
Stefanion was right. Banner
something
Mage is
else.
better than you. Just kidding.
Bellamage is better than me. At least as a streamer, by now also as a Path of Exile gamer, probably always as a gamer. I think back when we were both playing hardcore, you were better at hardcore as well.
I have level 100s in hardcore.
You have
100
100 level 100.
No, I have a level 100 in hardcore, not
I have
100
a
of
level
them.
99 and like I think 10% or so, but it's just like the grind became boring to me once I mapped out how long it would take. I was just like, okay, what is there to gain from getting level 100? It's like essentially just doing 7 more days of the same that made me get 12.5% today. And I was like, that's not worth it for me. I'd rather do a new character with that time or something else.
I got a level 86 softcore.
It's further than most. Trust me, most folks base scarcely get to yellow tin maps. Never mind getting into mid to high 80s.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. Oh boy.
All right, that was a lot of background talk. Should we talk a little bit more about Path of Exile?
Sure.
I assume the
host.
audience wants to hear that. I mean, we can go on and talk about behind-the-scenes stuff forever. I'm happy. But I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite GFL highlight, and like why you remember it? Like everyone
mean like
name
a-
one.
Are we talking like a specific clip?
Yeah, I guess, but it could be any sort of GFL moment. I mean, it could be also something that's not really a clip, but just GamerForLife mispronouncing a word in the outro of one of the videos, or
That never happened.
I'm trying to think if there's a specific one.
well, I mean, there's many specific ones. Like it's hard to come up with like the one that you want to name, but like I'll go first. Is like probably most of the audience knows the moment where Nugian said that you just got to build some defense when some viewer complained about how rippy that shit is, and then leap slammed around a
Build
little
some
bit.
defense so I don't die.
Yeah, not even 5 minutes later.
It was
got,
like 10 seconds.
No, it's sped up in between.
Is it?
Like the video, yeah. I think it's like a minute or two, but then the betrayal encounter happens and he's just dead. One shot, resurrect in town. That's a glorious one.
I got one. There is this, I don't know if you can call it meme, but basically when someone drops a mirror, they admire it on the ground for
they
an
don't pick it up.
extent. And everybody in the comments, every single time this happens, oh, I wish it's gonna roll back. I wish it's gonna disconnect. And one time it actually happened. And that clip is for me the one that I remember the most. This guy was actually admiring this mirror on the ground, and then
Boop, gone.
you can literally see the panic building in his brain when that happened. Immediately relogged in, and there were no portals in the device, and the guy immediately quit the Path of Exile.
Yeah.
That would
bank
be
it.
the end of my stream for that day. I might not come back the following day if that happened to me. I was like,
Because odds are that was probably the first mirror that guy dropped. And I understand that initial reaction where you're like, holy shit, but I would be picking that up immediately, portaling back and banking that.
When he was relogging, you can see the end.
Yeah,
the anxiety.
Yes, turning in his head because he realizes there's a chance that he might have lost his spirit. And then
Oh god! In his brain, you can think it was okay. Oh god! Please be there. Please be there. Go to the map device. No portals. Oh god! he quit Path of Exile that day.
Oh, that's awful.
I also do. Whenever I see someone looking at it too long, I'm also one of the people that's sitting there like, I hope that fucking goes.
yeah,
I hope that server crashes on you. Because you've been sitting there too long.
I remember
So
there
what
was
about-
also like a Rise QT clip where that happened with like a 5 link early on in an SSF hardcore league. Like he just, I don't remember the exact context. I just remember his facial expression when he logged back and the 5 link was gone.
Well, the recent 1, 2, 3. Who remembers that? 1, 2, 3.
wait, was
I
that
don't
for...
think I remember that.
1, 2, 3. Fire damage.
Oh wait, is that was it? Oh, that's Route 2, isn't it? Gotta be him with that delivery. Yeah.
And he
Oh,
tried,
yeah.
and he got 1, 2, 3 again. 1, 2, 3 again. the pitch was so high. I had to bring it down in editing.
Yeah. I have to bring you down in editing now.
Don't worry.
My ears.
It's not gonna happen again.
No, it's fine.
I wanted to imitate him. It was a fun.
You did recreate it.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, many people hate Ruto. I mean, it's probably his gimmick is the problem when he yells a lot. The last rant against the Path of Exile was legendary. When he grabs the microphone and speaks like 2 millimeters from it.
Wait,
And anything you can hear was like. What
No,
about
to
you,
each
Baylor?
their own. I mean, it's like I also respect Quinn69 as a content creator, even though I could watch the streams because there's so much screaming around. But like every now and then, there's like some content that I really enjoy that he makes, and same with Rue. And I mean,
I think one of the funniest clip I've done that didn't work was with a clip from Queen 69 when he had those boots that explode every step. I don't remember the name.
Oh, the Abrath ones?
Abrath shoes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he had oh my god, I haven't played Path of Exile for so long. Basically, you explode if someone touches you.
Is it Molten Shell?
Yeah, I guess that exactly. It was the original Val Monteshell. Do you remember it? Exploded.
Yeah. Because
The original Val Monteshell basically it wasn't a pop and then you have to recharge it. It was every time someone hits you,
you
explode.
during the duration, for a duration.
For the duration. And basically, I put before his clip from director Michael Bay.
Oh, because all the explosions.
And then he was like running, exploding every step. Every mob that was hitting him was an explosion. It was like, and people did not like it. I was so certain people would love that. People didn't like it.
I remember for a lot of people, like the first league that like really got them going was Pirandas, because like that league was handing out uniques like candy that were previously really hard to get, and so a lot of people got to play like very unique dependent builds. And a friend of mine played that build, that Val Molten Shell build, and he was using Consuming Dark Infernal Mental combo to get 100% fire to chaos conversion in order to be safe against Reflect, because he was using a Flame Blast to charge up Val Souls first thing he got into a map, right? So he could use Val Molten Shell and then use that to clear the rest of the map. And he ripped the character by loading into a Reflect map and not swapping his weapons.
Oh my god.
By flame blasting himself, bam. Oh.
The good old times Reflect map rips. It was
Well, it was-
Reflect.
Yeah, it's either like two things that used to get players in PoE's heyday. Either not realizing they rolled Reflect. Sorry, Ziz, that's kind of his thing. Although to be fair, right, even though Ziz gets flack for Reflect deaths, he's had like probably one of the fewest deaths to Reflect. It just happens to be the most prominent deaths. I was going to put that out there. He gets a lot of unfair flack for Reflect deaths.
But it's just because, like, for a while, all of his deaths were Reflect.
Yeah.
It's just that there were only 5 of them in the league, which sounds like a lot. And it shows up a lot on the GFL clips because there were 5 deaths in one league. But it's also 650 hours a month.
Yeah.
So it's not actually, you're not actually dying very often, but they all make it in. So...
But that's the thing, he's now becomes, anytime there's a Reflect death, there's always like, PoE players can't read, and poor Ziz just always catching flack.
And that's the fallacy. Yeah, that's the fallacy of streamer RNG. People see Ziz run, Ben, and these are the top streamers that drops awesome loot left, right, and center. People say streamer RNG, streamer RNG. These people stream more time than you probably are alive.
Yeah, and clearing content far quicker as well. So a lot of averages, they're probably going to end up finding the rarer things a lot more often.
These are professionals, basically. So yeah, there's no streamer RNG. It's just if you buy 2 scratch-off tickets and you win nothing, but I say, hey, look, I got 3 scratch-off tickets that are worth 100 euros each. Ah, you're cheating. No, I just bought 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And spent way more.
Exactly. Streamer RNG.
Wait, have you, Balor and Seth, have you mentioned one of your favorite clips? But like, I had an idea to put another spin on the question. It's like, do you have a favorite clip of yourself as well? Outside, like,
oh God,
first of all, one outside of yourself, but like of yourself, like.
I mean, if it's someone else's, I forget what the event was. It was one of oh God, I'm trying to remember now. I forget who it was. It was more the reaction. They were in. It was, what was the event? Oh well, if it was of myself. Oh, we watched the compilation. The altar with the Bramblejack. That's the bollocks. I'm still incensed by that one. The one where we watched it. That annoyed me. The reason it pisses me off is because the altar, I think, was rank 2.
He's still mad about it right now.
Yeah, because look, listen, I'm gonna put it out. I'm gonna put it out there. That was a rank 2 altar, meaning that it could be any unique, barring restrictions if it drops off a boss. Because I think rank 3, if you put a unique chest, it gives a unique chest back. Rank 2, I believe at the time was that if you put a unique, it could be any unique, and it was a high item level bramble
one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a high item level bramble, meaning it had an entire fucking ocean of uniques it could have been. And somehow it had to be the Bramblejack. So that's why I was so incensed by just the absolute absurdity of that event. But probably my favorite clip.
I love that you're still actively mad about it right
Bro,
now. You can see him getting a little worked up about it right now.
I'm getting
How
second round
astronomically low are the chances of that happening, Balor? I don't. You have played leagues where you farmed Alva, where you build temples, where you use those altars, right? Because I was talking about it on stream earlier. It's like, how many times do you sacrifice a unique and you get a Bramblejack back? Like even
I only ever did tier 3s.
Yeah. So if that was a tier 3 and it was a chest piece and a chest piece, I could have walked away thinking, okay, that was a little bad luck, but that was a rank 2. And that's
you
the
think
reason
that's silly of me to be putting a chess piece in there anyway? That's my fault.
Yeah, true.
You'd be like, all right, whatever.
It was belts all over, but like,
yeah,
you do get the occasional tier 2 room only when you don't get lucky to upgrade.
Yeah, just don't go to that
for
room.
Atlas Tree at least.
Yeah.
No, I just don't go to that room.
It's crazy.
You don't walk into a tier 2 room.
Right. Right.
Like I'll drop the whole temple on the floor if it doesn't have what I want. I'll just drop it on the floor and make a new one. It's just I don't need that.
Fair. No, I always like doing like full temple runs. I don't know, like racking up temples with the rooms that I wanted to have, right? And then because the unique swapping altar is like a byproduct that you get. Like it's not something that you target, right? Or is that something that you did? Like you always go for the corruptions and the gem corruptions, right?
Yeah, most of the stuff to the gem corruption. Yeah,
And it's gone.
yeah.
In all those years, it was so rare that I ever got like a 21, 23.
I do it every league, but it also takes way more than it should. It should be like 1 in 12 or something. I don't know. It seems like it takes like 25 every time.
Right, Valor, favorite clip?
I don't think I have a favorite clip. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast. I can't remember a video I watched yesterday. Like I just don't.
Undisputed best axe in the game.
Oh, that's an iconic moment.
See, I'll remember things when people mention them, but I can't.
Oh yeah, everybody does usually.
Yeah.
I'd be worried if you didn't. At least with that one. Right. Well, if you are bailing on this question, then I have to still pick my favorite one, where I went into, what was it, Act 9 boss, Unholy Trinity, right? And like, because that was back in the day, I felt like that boss was, in comparison to the act boss after, which was Kitava, right? And the boss before, which was, what was end of Act 8? I'm dumb.
Why am I blanking out on this?
Wait.
Don't ask me.
Act
Thousands of
7,
hours in the game, guys.
Spider,
All of
Act
us.
8, Sisters, yeah, the Sisters.
Yeah, Sun and Moon.
Oh,
Right.
Solaris and
Lunaris
Lunaris.
and Lunaris.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is surprisingly rippy. At least it was back then, because I always tried to squeeze myself through like as soon as possible, because the better farming spots were after that, right?
Yeah,
When you're
Blood
in Blood
Aqueducts.
Aqueducts and stuff. And the projectile grid of Solaris is like very, very hard hitting. And you don't have potions to fill up in between. It might be your end with the Degen area that Lunaris puts down, or like any combination, or like a quick follow up with the Degen beam or whatever. But yeah, I felt like Act 9 boss was considerably tame, like relatively easy to avoid death, completely certainly, and I was going in with a lot of confidence and talking to chat about like how this boss is a joke, and you really the
Don't
boss
say that
just doesn't do
beforehand.
anything.
Yeah.
You don't say that beforehand.
Yeah, that was the mistake. And then I just instantly got one shot by the blue the purple knives going up, which never happened before. I must have stood on like a number of knives, like more overlap than usual. Was so weird, because that I never even considered that to be a rippy move. Like I always thought that the slam was dangerous and the projectile throw, right? But
Yeah, never make fun of the boss before you've killed it. That's not when you're live. That's
unless
just,
you're trying to do content.
It's just asking for it. Is what that is.
He was at this moment that he knew.
He fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somehow that's the one that stands out to me most from everything I've done, because that's the one that cracks me up every time I watch it, even myself. And I think a lot of people also like reference that one in my chat, or used to. Anyway, I think we haven't streamed in 4 months. I'm basically dead to everyone.
Come on.
Forgotten about ancient relic at that point.
You still have
4
6
months.
lives.
6 slides?
Lives.
Oh yeah, cat.
Oh,
yeah,
cat.
true. Yeah, I'll come back.
Not bad, huh?
The Catman. Wait. Then we talk about Path of Exile 2. I think, before we
Do
round
we have
things
to?
off.
Oh god, do we have to exactly say the same thing? Exactly say the same thing.
I mean, we can also opt to give it some more time to boil, you know. Just
Okay.
give them time to cook, and then we'll talk about it in a year from now.
Nah, I'll tell you what's wrong with it. I figured it out. It's been a week without playing ARPGs, playing other games, and I think I figured out what's wrong.
Okay.
There's a bunch of things that's wrong, but I think I figured out the major thing that's wrong. I saw a video 3 days ago. I think the video came out 3 days before that, of someone in Path of Exile 2 using a charm that when you activate it, ignites like everything on the whole screen. And it was like pulsing out big waves of ignite and clearing everything. Fantastic, clever, interesting idea. It's the first clever or interesting idea we've seen, and it is the very first build that I have seen in Path of Exile 2 that didn't feel like it was designed from the ground up by GDG. We are just playing the combos they gave us in the way they meant for us to do them. There is nothing, no one's making builds. They already made all the builds for us.
You know what's gonna happen now, right?
That's the issue.
Yeah, that's fair to point out, but that's, I mean, also very nicely put. But I feel like there's more. There's way more to it.
You know,
because
there's
build
definitely-
making
there's
is but
definitely
one
a
of
lot
many
more.
aspects of Path of Exile.
There's definitely plenty of more things wrong, but I think that's the one to me that's so key to the entire design of the game that I'm not sure how we're going to get past it. Whereas there are plenty of other things that are like other problems, you know, like we move too slow, the mobs move too fast, getting stunned is horrible, it takes too long to get through the campaign. Like, there's a big list of like things that can just be changed. Like, I still see all like the bones of a really good game that just isn't fleshed out yet, except for one thing, which is that I don't see people making builds and I don't see any interesting builds to make, and nothing is popping into my head that I'm like, oh, I wonder if anyone's thought of that yet, because it's just, we're all playing whatever was handed to us.
Okay, and how much of that do you attribute to design, and how much of that is from the fact that we only have like 10 to 20% of the finished game right now?
Sure, there'll be more options for creativity when we have the rest of the game. But locking every single set of skills to an individual set of weapons and having combos that intentionally work specifically with different skills rather than different effects, and having all sorts of limitations set onto us that are hard limitations rather than PoE1's way of doing stuff where there's still like limitations, but it's more like mechanically that doesn't work or isn't worth doing.
I see your
right?
point.
Like they make it unrewarding to do this thing, but it also means without a hard limit that a whole bunch of things in PoE1 over the last 10 years that have been like unrewarding or unintuitive mechanics, people have come together and put things together in clever ways, and you've been like, yo, this thing and this mechanic and this item that we would never have used before, when you put together in this way, suddenly does this thing, and it becomes like a big meta shifting thing, and it's happened hundreds of times.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this example applies, because one thing which blew my mind, I'm not sure that this was intentional, but to further on Baylor's point, if you go back to PoE1, we know the Soul Mantle chess piece allows you to conjure totems like an absolute madman. But the major downside being once a totem dies or if it expires, you hit with a curse. It's very bad. But the benefit you get from the extra totems is really cool. So I thought, why the hell would anyone use this? And then you have this other jewel, the self-flagellation, where it increases your damage for each curse you have on you. And that was one of those things where you kind of overlap these two things, which have very significant drawbacks. And then you find a way to make it where the curse is no longer, you could be affected by them, but they don't impart any of their negative effects. For example, if you have reduced curse effectiveness on yourself with like Hikazaru's or Passive Tree. And now all of a sudden, all these downsides have suddenly become upsides. That I don't think I've seen any sort of overlap, at least off the top of my head, in PoE2. Like the builds are they feel kind of on rails. Like you could tell how they've been almost intended for the players to play with. So the example you gave with the charm, that's a very peculiar and like kind of unorthodox result, and it's created something probably more unique than I've seen out of all the other builds. If that makes sense.
But it wasn't until seeing that video that it clicked in my head what big thing was missing. Because I was like, yo, that's really cool. And then I thought about it and went, that's the first time I've thought that since we started playing. That's the first time I've seen somebody come up with a mechanic and going, yo, that's so clever. Because it isn't happening. So it's not a thing that's happening.
Yeah, so to further Catmaster's point, I guess the hope is that as the game continues to cook, we get like more uniques, more tweaks, maybe
more skill gems, support gems.
Perhaps classes. Those can come about. But I mean, Bella, you already hit on the parts that have been like frustrating me, which is that the process of going through the axe, it can feel kind of sluggish. Enemies feel like Usain Bolt. I feel like I have no legs. It's like they just catch up to you in like 2 seconds. It's just the thing that I've noticed in boss fights, most encounters, the system works fine because you can tell everything has a certain cadence and rhythm. You can see like boss wind-up attacks. Either you dodge roll or you reposition. In that setting, that narrow focus, I think the way that pendulum swings, there's a nice balance to it. But then when you take it outside of that and you go into like map encounters, some of these mobs are moving at such an egregious pace that half the time, even when I deliberately did Essence Stream Contagion because I could quickly throw up a contagion. Essence Stream. As I had to constantly just keep running. I had no means to increase my speed outside of what my boots allowed. So then you have these crazy like combo abilities. You hit him with this skill, then you hit him with that, and then you have the crescendo. I'm like, when am I supposed to do this when I'm just being bombarded by enemies from all sides? I can't create the space and the timing and the distance needed. And people just don't feel the payoff is there. So
to me, a lot of those things just feel like growing pains, right? I'm like, okay, so the balance in this is off and the balance is that and off, and we can slow down abilities and we can balance mobs' movement speed with our movement speed, and we can change how much damage things are doing, and like all of these things will happen over the next year, and it'll just keep getting better and better, and like all of those things, they all seem fixable, and I haven't been upset about any of them. I've been defending most of them as like, guys, like just relax, like it'll
give it time.
Like give the feedback, but don't be like, oh, the game's ruined because mobs move too fast. Well, we can just change how fast mobs move. Like that's not a deal breaker.
Well, the thing is also, if you don't have the entire context of the rest of the game that we're missing, then it's like really hard to judge things in isolation, right? Like you need to see the entire game because everything is sort of connected. It's like a mesh of
because there's been this apathy, because especially with the one of the more recent interviews, everyone's like, oh, it's because of the vision. I'm like, just give it time. I'm all for negative feedback as long as you articulate what part of it you don't like and what you'd like to see done. That'll resonate. It's not going to happen overnight, but please do keep giving that negative feedback back. But when you start throwing just front load just insults without any context, that's not helping anything, and that's the part of the reason why I just thought for now. I've stated what my complaints with PoE2 are. I'm sure the game will continue to improve. I'll just wait. I can certainly play things like Last Epoch. I can also go back to PoE1, and I will most definitely go back to PoE2 at some point. I've given the feedback I wanted to, but I'll just wait for the time being. So I hope.
I'm 100% sure I'll come back every time there's a patch, but now it's sitting like other ARPGs are, which is when the launch happens, I'll definitely play for a week, and if it earns more time out of me, if I'm still having fun, then I'll keep going.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the same team basically made the best action RPG ever. Arguably, but many people think that Path of Exile 1 in its prime was the absolutely very best action RPG. So they know what works. It's basically the same team. So once you make Path of Exile 2, and you know what works in Path of Exile 1, why not at least try to apply the same concept to Path of Exile 2?
Because they wanted to make a different game.
Yeah, because
at least try.
Well,
but I don't want that. That would be bad.
Because what my understanding was that at one point it was supposed to be one game. but it was going to be a second campaign. But what they just realized is certain design elements that they were making for this second campaign was constantly in contrast and butting heads with what PoE1 already was. So the issue was that if they try and change it too much, then they'll anger the fans they already have. So the easiest thing was just split them apart. So that way PoE1 still has their game at whatever power creep pace, whatever you want to say it's at. And then you can try all the new stuff with the whatever systems that have been introduced since without affecting the previous game. I believe that's, I might kind of watering it down, but I believe that's what ended up kind of happening. They diverged paths as a result.
But it looks like the main complaints is there are no build diversity in Path of Exile 2, but there are an almost infinite amount of build diversity in Path of Exile 1. You can create such a combination that, as Balor said before, you can't even think about, as a Farian, you must think, okay, I got the Soul Mantle, I got the Self-Flagellation, I do this, I do that, and I create this incredible build with 3 different uniques, 7 different skills, etc., etc. Instead, you said, Balor, that Path of Exile 2 seems more like on rails. Or was it Safarian again that said it was on rails?
I think I said it was on it, but
yeah.
The hope here is it's more due to the fact that it's still in a more earlier form of development, perhaps with the advent of further iteration on the passage tree, more support gems, more uniques, just additional iteration. Maybe then those circumstances can arise where you have those unique builds, like the one that Baylor mentioned, where it's like, holy shit. So I'm hoping that's the reason why, and maybe that's why at the moment these earlier builds are a little bit more narrow in scope, I guess.
Railroaded.
Yeah.
So, also, a lot of feedback I've heard is, why don't they just make it more like PoE1?
No. That's not what I meant.
I know, but like we hear that a lot.
Okay.
And I think that stems from a separate problem, which is they speedran adding endgame content, which means most of the endgame content is a slight variation of a copy and paste from stuff that we already had from PoE1. So it feels like we've got an entirely different game built completely differently, and then it's got a bunch of PoE1 endgame just like patched into the end of it. And you're like, the pace of the camp, forgetting how long the campaign takes, obviously that's fucking way too long. It takes at least double what it should. But the pacing of the fights, the pacing of the fights in the campaign, the pacing of the boss fights, those all feel fantastic. I love that.
Same.
And obviously the thing takes too long, but like the actual combat in there feels great. And then you get to maps and it's like, here's some breaches, go. But you're like, I don't have the character to do this level of speed. You haven't I can't. Like, I mean, the lightning spear one now that just, but they deleted all of the other ones, and they'll obviously get rid of this one too. So like, we can't engage in PoE1's endgame with the PoE2 characters.
Yeah, I figured GGG. You're having too much fun. I take it away.
I mean, obviously, there's also the argument of folks they'll see like one skill, like the lightning spear. That one is insane. And the easy answer I keep hearing is, well, why about it? Just like, power up all other abilities to be just as good so everyone can have fun. I don't think that's probably going to be the go-to solution.
No.
That one definitely is an outlier compared to some of the other builds. But yeah, sometimes it does feel like the PoE1 and PoE2, same puzzle, but they just assemble the pieces a little bit differently. And there's, you can tell, PoE2 is unique in many ways, but you can see clearly the elements of one have bled in, and especially into maps. You see things like Expedition or Breach. It's familiar, but at the same time, it's not, because you feel like, are these guys on cocaine? Because I'm getting completely railed here by comparison. So whereas if you were to go back to PoE1, I guess maybe it's down to the power creep is pretty insane. But yeah, as Baylor said, it does feel a little rough at times, especially when you're doing familiar mechanics. And yet somehow it still feels different, or at least I felt like I was on the back foot. But maybe that's just due to my build choice or a skill issue. Who knows?
Is it just me, or does it feel like in PoE2 the current level of like top end clear speed and gameplay that we've seen was like already too fast, too efficient, too early in the release? Like for me, it felt like the game has essentially been like solved. Yeah, of course. I mean, they're gonna nerf down the stuff and all that, but I feel like it's not good that there's such broken shit that early.
Here's the thing that really messes with your head, especially if you look at all the people playing that lightning spear thing, which was also the build I re-rolled into. Comparatively to anything you've ever done in PoE1, that build is still shit and slow. Like any build you've ever played in PoE1, that lightning spear we're playing right now is still shit and slow.
And that one's considered one of the more faster players.
And it's like 12 times better than the next build down in PoE2. and it's still, it would be terrible in PoE1. But
okay, fair. I'm just like, with all the emphasis on like making meaningful combat and making dodge significant and everything, like you get to the point too quickly where you ignore all combat mechanics for the most part and you just keep blowing up packs.
Well,
But
the only time, at least in my experience, where that intent makes sense is in those like boss fights, because it's designed for that. You're in an arena. If you leave, it resets. They have very clear telegraphed attacks, mostly, and you can tell like there is the attacks are very well like laid out for the most part, but that does not often translate into the normal enemies. They still fight very akin to the mobs in the first game. So when you have these systems, you can parry, you can dodge roll, you can use your traversal skills to slip through them. When there's so many enemies, that all that like very intended
it becomes
combat,
very unpredictable.
That's the thing. It kind of, that's the part where I had some frustration.
But there are things that you can do, like design-wise, to alleviate that, right? Like, I mean, similar to how in Path of Exile 1 they did eventually patch out that, like, if you have a pack of leaping goats, for example, that they all leap on you at the same time, you come into their
Field of view.
effective radius, but like only one out of the pack would use the leap at a time, and there would be like a pack cooldown on it, so to say.
Well, who remembers the original detonate?
Oh God!
I can already see the volatile devourer popping up right in front of me and then instantaneously detonating.
Yeah.
the best one was an off-screen totem and a random white mob on the floor that I walked over.
Oh my God!
You like instant death.
I remember the very first time I quit Path of Exile 1 was due to the sync. Who remembers it?
Oh yeah. /OOS macros.
Exactly. Every time. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, because on 4 I had the macro to OS out of sync. Every single time.
Wasn't there like a 6-second cooldown on it? You couldn't use it that often, right?
I
I
can't
don't
remember.
remember there was a cooldown.
There was. It didn't work. But it let you type it as many times as you wanted. Just only worked once every few seconds or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But they lowered it at some point, I think. But it was like when I started playing, it was like 6 seconds. So you had to use it like you had to be very aware of which situation you could potentially be out of sync and which you couldn't, or what could resync you. Like there was like some skills that forced a resync. Like, was it Leap Slam or something like that? Anyway.
It was basically a game mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. You had to play very aware with that in mind. Yeah, and make decisions based around that, which is, as bad as it sounds, back then I sort of liked that. It made the game like feel more sophisticated, like a more of a connoisseur sort of thing. I mean, I was happy when it was gone, and I was always swearing at it, but it was also like, especially playing hardcore at the time, it was really an acquired skill that you could, it could significantly increase your performance in the game if you knew how to do that well. That's what I'm saying. So it felt
I also kind of liked it at the time, but that's like back then, like honestly, it was elitism, and I just liked it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No,
That's the always I played hardcore. Yeah, the mentality was if you're not playing PoE in hardcore, you're not playing the game. I'm glad that mentality shifted. One of the best choices I ever made was shifting to softcore, because I had to avoid so much content because of the probability of just ripping in a very unceremonious way. So
Yeah.
I have a question for you, hardcore players. I'm a softcore, by the way.
I mean,
Tried
I'm former hardcore.
Former
for sure.
hardcore players.
Yeah.
Okay, when you were hardcore players,
Mm-hmm.
and please be honest, did you actually consider softcore players worse players?
Oh God, no! I consider
Yeah.
them.
No, I considered it a different game.
No, yeah, you weren't even playing the same game.
I mean, I didn't think less, but when I had someone in stream critique my build, I'd be like, "There's a reason why I have this much health and then this much resist." Because like, but yeah, if they were critiquing something, and I was like, "Do you play hardcore? Or do you play softcore?" But that's the only time I think some of that bled in. But barring that, I was generally ambivalent to how someone played the game.
As far as I was concerned at the time back then, I was like, "That's a different game. It's barely even worth playing."
Right.
I don't
I mean,
know
not
what
for me.
happened
I did-
over the course of years, but like, it went from like that to like now I play softcore and I don't even see a reason to play hardcore.
Yeah.
No, but like I had appreciation for what people did in softcore. It was just like we said, a different game. But like when Havoc did his Zeri runs, Uber Zeri runs in hardcore, in softcore with the immortal build, just farming up stuff and supplying the market or whatever. Or like when I started the podcast not with Balor but like with Waifugate at the time, who was like a top end Magic Find softcore player. And I remember also Octavian did like some amazing 6-man group farming, which was all in softcore, and some incredible softcore builds before he actually transitioned to hardcore. That was all content that I appreciated, where I was like, oh, this is really cool that people are doing that, and I wish I could do that. It's just like, I don't feel like softcore is the environment for me to be engaged. And I was right, because like my transition to softcore did not really make me a better player in the long run. I mean, I get what you're saying, Seth. Like in hardcore, you avoid so much confrontation that you're not even very aware of the strengths and weaknesses of your build, because you only ever do content when you're sure that you're basically unable to die and able to kill it fairly quickly.
I mean, for me, it was literally abyss. I had one rip, and I was like, I'm done. I went straight to softcore, and my enjoyment of the game went to the stratosphere, because all of a sudden, all this content I'd been avoiding because it was too risky. I was like, now I can just throw myself into the meat grinder and never look back at hardcore.
For me, it was Betrayal, actually.
Betrayal was rough. Fuck.
I died to Tora's wind-up shot, I think, while I was playing the Flavor of the League Winter Orb character.
Right.
And then I just remade my White Wind Frostblade build in softcore and had a lot of fun that league. And that's also the cool thing in Betrayal that happened to me, is the triple exalt drop early on when I switched to softcore from what was it, Jorgen or Tujin or I don't know, but like you click currency and then you roll the exalt and you roll the 3 instead of the 1 or the 2, and that was just a good feeling.
So I suppose your strategy to face Abaxoth is logging out.
In hardcore? Old school Abaxoth. Depends. It's DPS.
Depends on which time in the game, right? Like there were definitely times where it was like Abaxoth, no way, I'm noping.
Yeah, if it's like a tier 16 map, it's insane.
I have definitely left in hardcore.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I'm like Abaxoth, but then I go kill it.
Yeah, Abaxoth was like scary, but it was technically not as scary as Bameth with the unpredictable DD and the hard-hitting split arrow and stuff. Because like Abaxoth wasn't Abaxoth like always spawning ads that you could generate leech off of?
Yeah.
So that
and
was
charges for your flasks.
Yeah, and that was very, very good on certain builds. That meant you could basically face tank.
Who remembers the original custom and create? The one that destroyed servers.
The original? I actually, believe it or not, I've never played a
Which original? Like,
there
was changed so many times.
There was no cooldown.
Oh, wait, that was a thing. Yeah, there was no. Yeah,
Barrage
was a single server tick.
Yeah, you put Barrage with incredibly high attack speed, and you actually shut down servers with that skill.
Yeah,
if you wanted.
Detonate
was
CPU.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yep.
The good old times.
Yeah, what I really want to still bring up, we're a little bit over time, and we should probably round things off relatively quickly to not tire us out too much and to not.
Yeah, sorry,
tire
my
out the
fault. My
audience.
fault. Sorry.
No,
No,
not your
no.
fault. There was just a great many things to discuss. But like one thing we definitely need to bring up is like we want to wish a farewell to our favorite Chris Wilson, to Rishi, and to Rory Rackham, all three
Yeah.
of which
yeah.
left grinding
Yeah.
your games over the course of the last couple of months.
Yeah, Chris Wilson. I remember
Yeah.
vividly when they fix the sync. I messaged him and I said,
Fix the sync.
"Yeah, seriously." I messaged. Yeah, there was a patch that I don't remember which one was it that literally got rid of the sync when you could go lockstep.
Yeah, that was probably that was the biggest thing holding the game back, I think. And when they had a lockstep, holy moly.
I agree.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was so excited. Oh, finally I can use my Cyclone build. And I messaged him like, I don't remember exactly the words. It was something like, "Thank you very much for fixing the sync. I can finally enjoy the game." And he replied, "You're welcome." Something like that. Yeah, I got a response. Actually, I wanna read it to you.
Oh, back in the day, as this would not happen anymore, but back in the day, Chris Wilson used to be responding to people's Discord DMs like
Yeah.
all the time, like every day, and not just streamers or content creators, just random people would like message him, and he'd just talk.
I mean,
It's crazy.
for me, the one image that makes me laugh. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. It's a little TOS because it was someone almost writing, Gravicious Shadow fanfic. Do you know the I fuck for God exile?
yeah.
Oh, Chris's
We all
response,
know.
I'm just typing in, "What? That is just Bella. It's just perfect." When I saw it the first time, I pissed myself laughing.
And then
But-
just people don't understand how much Chris used to reply.
Yeah.
The other people who worked with him would get angry at him for how much he was replying to people.
Yeah.
Like he was taking up a non-significant portion of his work day to respond to people's Discord messages.
Okay, I got it. I wrote.
Here we go.
I just wanted to say that on a gaming point of view, I could not be more happy. I'm not asking anything. I just wanted to thank you personally on the effort solving this deadly issue. I can now come back and play for unimaginable length of time. Thank you again, Chris. I really wish you a wonderful day. My regards to the devs. Bye. And he replied, "Thanks." Smiley face.
That's not concise in response.
July 3rd, 2015.
Yeah, I mean, wish and luck to those that have now since left. I mean, I think I'll always miss the, Chris from Grinding Games. Gonna miss that, but I'm sure Mark and Jonathan. I know that they're under some harsh scrutiny, especially with PoE2, but I'm wishing them the best of success. And,
Absolutely. Rory is doing his
yeah.
own game. He
Yeah.
just announced on Twitter, and
Yeah, I
Rishi,
saw the
I'm
tweet,
sure
yeah.
we'll see somewhere again. Like he will be doing great stuff somewhere else, and we'll hear about it one day.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like big transformations, and yeah, we're hoping that Jonathan and Mark are able to keep it together and keep it real, and to also maybe expand and recruit new amazing creative energy into the team. As you know, the team has been growing over the years. I'm sure like now Chris and Rishi and Rory left, but they have acquired over the years Octavian, who we knew is a very awesome game designer who always had like great feedback regarding to the game, and probably still to this day does very significant work on there. They have Badger working in the sound department. They have the guy who made Path of Building originally. What was his name?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They wanted to hire Neversink as well.
No, Neversink is the
didn't want to
filters.
go to NZ.
Yeah. Also, yes. Yeah.
I meant Openal was the name.
Open ARL. Yep.
Yeah.
The guy who made the original Path of Building. Obviously now the fork is being maintained by a local identity and a small team around him.
Funnily enough, that was the time when we thought we were going to get some version of Path of Building in game. So that's what he hired him for.
How awesome would have it been?
All in one single freaking thing. Oh, that's something I like
Yeah.
about things like Last Epoch. There's a lot of stuff you can do baked directly into the game. But yeah.
Yeah, but like everyone at GGG, I want to explicitly thank for this hell of a ride this past 10 years. I mean, for most of you, it has been more than 10 years, but for me, it's pretty much like GFL, exactly 10 years that I've enjoyed the game. Played every league. So many fun memories between Bloodlines and Settlers.
I had theirs when I started this channel.
So did I. I mean, not too many. It was already thinning, but
No, I was cosplaying Undertaker, and I'm not joking. I had very long hairs, like half my back, and I was cosplaying Undertaker with a trench coat and the eyes rolling on the skull. It was, my God, 10 years. I wonder how long I'm gonna go again.
Another 10, mate. Hopefully.
yeah, go for it, dude. I mean, like I said, for me, I'm currently taking a step away and coming back with refreshed energy, but I have my hopes that when I'm done with the apprenticeship that I'm currently pursuing, and like in 60 weeks from now, I have a regular full-time job and I have a lot of disposable income and probably will move into a different place, and I'll be able to get like the stream setup that I always wanted, you know, after I paid back all the money that I owe to various people in my life. Then I'll make the best show that I can. I mean, I won't be able to stream every day and all that, but like I'll try and do some gaming again, and
Maybe
I'll be happy if I have a fresh PoE2 to sink my teeth in.
at this point, maybe I am the wrong one among all of you four. I mean, you all quit your job and went all into content creators. And it looks like you're happy. I'm miserable.
Broke though, but broke though.
Well,
but
I'm
you know,
happy now. Like I was miserable, like towards the end of it, right? Like I wasn't feeling like I still made good content or like that it was worth doing, which is terrible because there are people out there who value my content and who came into the stream and were always like, "Where's more streams? Where's more podcasts? Like, why are you doing so little these days?" And but I was just not able to keep it up the way that I had fun with it and that I felt I was doing a good service.
I was thinking about actually quitting my job, and because I mean I'm getting old. There's no two way about it. I'm getting old, and the longer I wait, the harder it is for me to quit a job and go into another kind of unsecure career.
You want to change into a different career path.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about. I'm developing games, so maybe streaming while developing could work.
The problem is it's like 3 full-time jobs, right? Like that's what I always tell people. If you want to establish yourself as a content creator, it's essentially 3 full-time jobs because it's 1 full-time job for the activity itself, 1 full-time job for, you know, like creating live content, and 1 for creating off-stream content and social media and stuff. I mean, it's a little bit less than that, but it's definitely a lot of work. Like
I can hire someone, but the problem is I don't have a safety net. I don't have a parachute or a mattress. I don't have anyone to go back to in case things go wrong. So it's a do or die, literally. There are no jobs where I live right now. I mean, there are, but
oh right. If you quit your job, you can't go back to that current job.
I mean, I probably could, but my pride would prevent me to. And so it would be the biggest decision of my life, literally, to quit my job and to become a streamer. And I'm not feeling safe to do so right now. Oh well, let's see what happens when PoE2 comes out. Sorry, Balor?
No, that's fair. It's not a. I don't think what I did was a smart move. I would never suggest anybody do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think both me and Bill had like a situation where it was feasible. Like, it's not like we were completely zero safety net. Because in my case, I was living with my folks. I had a decent amount of savings. I had a very narrow window where I could attempt full time and see if it worked or not. And in my case, it panned out. Could have been the exact opposite, and we would be having, or might have even be having this conversation right now. So
I had a year's worth of savings that I stretched into like 2 because I moved back home and spent no money.
Yep, that's very akin to mine.
Like if
Yeah,
that didn't work out and I gave up on it, that would have been, well, that's all my savings though.
Yeah.
But like that's everything I worked for. Right, and then you're like, well, it's gone now. It's gone now. This hasn't worked, and now I've got nothing. Right, like.
But in the worst of locations, you could just stay with your parents and live there until you find another job.
I definitely I would have had a bit more security, but I would have to have found some kind of gainful employment pretty quick.
Yeah, because your mama already had a slipper in her hand.
I mean, both my folks were coming up to retirement, so I didn't want to burden them any more than they already were.
Oh, right.
So my situation was a little bit more do or die for a bit, at least for a spell.
Isn't it scary?
Yeah, it can be. But like I said, I'm at the point now where both my folks are officially retired. This house is fully paid off, and as long as we live within our means and I can generally make ends meet, we ain't living lavishly, but we're certainly not paycheck to paycheck either. Like, it's even, and for me, even will do. I can work with that.
Damn. Nice.
Yeah, I consider myself very fortunate. I mean, when I first got into streaming, I figured 2 years tops and folks would see that I'm a sham and then go elsewhere. And I've got folks that have come up to about a better part of being sub to the stream for 100 months or so. I still haven't figured out what they see in my shenanigans, but as long as folks keep returning, I must be doing something right. But
it's not important.
Yeah, I guess as long as they're okay to watch, I guess that's fine by me.
I think what I see is that you are 100% genuine. There are no gimmicks with you.
I mean, I'm not sure what else I can put forward. It's right. It's all I got, Lex. It's all I got.
And you're pretty consistent, and you're good at keeping your viewers in the mental loop, right? Like how you say projecting your inner monologue, right? Like keeping people engaged. Like for me, it was always very, very hard to, like, I'd either be a good streamer or a good player, but I can't be both at the same time. It's like,
yeah.
I became a much better streamer when I was in softcore, but like I wasn't a good player anymore because I wasn't focusing on the game, but I was focusing on chat interaction, and it was really always my biggest struggle to strike a good balance between that.
Also, the British accent won't hurt.
Sorry, say again?
Also, the British accent won't hurt.
Ah,
right.
Yeah, it's very charming.
Thanks.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with this Italian one. I try to force a British accent, but I can't do it.
Oh no, please don't.
Yeah, I mean,
That was the best mix.
No, that's probably the word.
British Italian accent.
Yeah. I mean, I could force a stereotypical Italian accent, but by the way, we do not actually talk like that. This is a real Italian accent. The one you hear in the movies are fake Italian accent, where they go like, "Hey Tony, how you doing?"
Yeah, like a very exaggerated one.
Yeah, do it, dude. Engage with it for the memes, dude. I'm 100% sure if
What do you mean for the memes, huh?
for the
Who do you
for
think
the
you're
channel,
talking to?
For the
Do you know who I am?
entertainment of the viewers.
Sounds like a mob boss from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I am Tony Mozzarella.
Right?
Yeah. You must appreciate the pasta.
Pasta, not pasta. Pasta.
Pasta. So, like this.
You got the work on
Pasta.
it. Mamma
Pasta.
mia.
Is the T too hard? Like Germans always do very hard consonants. That's why.
Cat Mastero, you are walking a thin line.
Okay. I'll take a step back. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna call that better. We went way over time, and
Yeah, Jesus,
well,
I
you
lost
know,
track.
but if we had done the regular time for the start ballot, then we would just be 30 minutes into the podcast. So I'm sure you can do another 90 minutes. You're just
I
trying
could, but I could also sleep.
Expedition 33 is calling.
Yeah, we
I mean,
should.
it will be in the morning.
Ah, right. You're in Australia, right?
Yeah, it's bedtime now.
I couldn't figure out from your accent.
Okay, I'll spare you the fun rapid fire round then, and I think we have even covered most of the other things that I wrote down just naturally talking
Yeah,
about it. I mean,
my
you guys
apologies.
basically gave a lot of advice and shared experiences of content creation, and we got into it.
As I said, in 10 years, this is only the second time on a podcast.
It's
So,
the
yeah.
first time on Faded, and I'm happy that we managed to get you in within our first 150 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm always available. Well, almost.
Well, but next time you're gonna have played the actual PoE2 League, and we need your personal feedback.
I don't think I'm gonna have time for that, or the patience.
Like,
It is a
unless
time.
you're a rapid, very, very big fan. Like if you're just like a casual fan, I don't even suggest people play PoE2 right now.
At least not until the
Wait till we're closer to release.
yeah. I said 1.0, then you have all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, like it might be ready for casual play before then, but it isn't right now. So
Yeah, there's still a lot of like frustrating stuff that could happen for sure.
Judging on your experience, last question. How long until PoE2 is full release, in your opinion?
Oh, what's the estimated
Oh.
time they give? Like a year, I think they gave.
Christmas 2026.
they said there was like a 60% chance that it would happen at the end of this year.
No way in hell.
I'm thinking
Zero.
2020. I'm thinking 2026, especially with the all hands on deck on PoE2. I think it's 2026. I don't know
We have to
when.
work another 2 years in the
next year.
factory.
I
Yeah.
think I'm saying mid next year. So that would be 12, 13, 14 months from now.
Remember this, guys. Remember, when PoE2 comes out, we're gonna pull out this segment
clip.
and,
Yeah.
and see who's right.
Yep.
It'll be
I'm
like-
saying
I can see now-
about 14 months from now.
Yeah, it'll be 2029. We're like, oh, how naive were we to think it'll be 2026 is real?
I say February the 22nd, 27.
27. Okay. Clip it and ship it. We'll see.
If I'm still alive.
No, I think by the time 2026 is around, Christmas 2026 is a good time for them to release the full game, basically, right? Like with all the ascendancies and stuff like that. If they keep going the pace that they've been going, I think they can get all the content in that we expect to be in by the time of full release, and then they have 1.0. But like, what was PoE 1.0, right? Like it was a vanilla game with like no endgame maps. Like, I mean, it had endgame maps, but not in the way that we imagine endgame mapping systems around now. It was just like nothing, basically, like revisiting areas of the acts as a little bit harder, and no interconnection, no progression system, nothing, no specialization into leagues, no leagues because there were no league mechanics, right? Because those just came with the leagues. But yeah. No, that's great, because then it means I can get into the saddle with the career and figure out all my life, and then come into PoE2 1.0.
How about this?
Yeah,
You're not gonna shave until PoE2 comes out.
I thought about it. Like I was gonna do the beard for the entire apprenticeship, because I was like, it's gonna be interesting to see. But it's so annoying to keep a mustache. Like, really, it gets so annoying once it's past like half a centimeter.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fucking, it's awful. It's always in your food when you're trying to eat.
And
It's like
as
never
soon as my
stays
hair
in
touches
shape.
my lip, I
Yeah,
can't
trim
handle
it.
it anymore.
Yeah.
It's got to come back up. I'm just not allowed to touch my lip.
it also never stays in shape, right? Like you put in like beard wax and everything. You put in effort with like a little comb it to the side and twirl the ends together and everything. And then someone makes a joke and you like make a face like 2 or 3 times and everything is back in your mouth with the wax then, which is especially tasty. Also in combination with drinking coffee it's terrible. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait like a little bit more, and then we're gonna do a full-on like Willen mustache and sideburns and like a little soul patch down here and remove everything else, right? And then have that for like a month or so, and then do tabula rasa again, I think.
Tabula rasa.
But yeah, no, I think once in my life I want to have like a really nice, sophisticated mustache, well-groomed, like. I mean, it takes a while, right? Like, I thought it was going to take longer because it's only been going for half a year right now. But, like, obviously you could go to the point where even the hair up front, right here under my nose, is going all the way to the side. But, I mean, then we're talking about, like, definitely, like, 2 years or so, right? It grows so slowly. Don't do it, guys. It's a bad life decision to grow a mustache.
Well,
That's
think
all I'm
about
saying.
sponsorships.
From what? From Manscaped?
Yeah, exactly. There you go, see?
I actually was in the talk with the Manscaped representative. Am I allowed to say that on stream? There was like, at some point, there was a contact between a Manscaped representative and me in the form of the representative for FATED, but we didn't come to an agreement, unfortunately. Hey, Manscaped, if you want to sponsor, I mean, we can still do something. We can figure something out. I love you. The name so cool. The brand's cool. I think that I'd be fine.
Oh boy, this is
Better sponsor than HelloFresh.
Yeah.
That was a jab at Baller Mage, right?
I don't use HelloFresh. They're neither hello nor fresh.
No, hey, no shade at any content creator who is doing HelloFresh sponsorships. Just saying, like
I know
what I'm saying.
Get your bag, but HelloFresh sucks.
I wouldn't use it personally. I've read bad things.
I'm not upset at anybody taking money from them, but they ain't good.
Right. So, time's up. We are final words. What is you guys' final verdict?
Thank you.
I do my closing remarks.
Thank you. That's my final word. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate the invite. I'm not usually one for podcasts because I struggle to just stream with this, but I appreciate the invite. Enjoyed my time. Kind of touching base.
I didn't notice anything about you saying struggling to do podcasts.
Oh, trust me, I was screaming internally. Like, trust me, my sense of humor is a way to carry my crippling anxiety. I'm sweating profusely right now. Don't you worry.
My closing remark is anybody who hasn't tried it really does need to give this Claire Obscure Expedition 33 a go. It is absolutely fantastic.
Another shout out for free.
It is. Yep. It is on the Game Pass, on the Xbox Game Pass, so it barely even costs anything. Also, Oblivion came out on the Xbox Game Pass the same month. So, like, this month for that Game Pass is, like, cracked. Very cheap. You get to play both of those games. But that Expedition 33 has blown my mind away. I feel like it has to be in the running for Game of the Year. If it doesn't win, it'll be close.
You have to legally say, not sponsored.
I mean, we're not sponsored, but we've now given it 2 shout-outs for free because that's how good it is.
So you wouldn't be opposed to the idea of being sponsored. That's what you're saying.
They don't need to. I'm going to keep shouting it from the rooftops until everybody's playing it.
So you're thinking about Expedition 32, right?
I think
every time you guys say Expedition, the first thought that comes into my head is not Expedition 33, but like is like Path of Exile 3.24 Expedition. What was it? 1.7, 1.8? I don't know.
Well, the question is, are you gonna find out what happened to the 32 previous expeditions?
I assume that's part of, that's part of the story. I'd rather not know yet.
So
at least the premise.
This is only a spoiler for the first minute of the game, so it's not that important. But there isn't a previous 32. There's a previous 67. It started at 100 and worked its way down. There are many, many, many expeditions before us.
Interesting.
You find that out like the first minute. It's not a mind-blowing thing. It's like the way the entire universe is set up, a very obvious thing right at the beginning, which is the
They
only
don't
reason
start
why I'm happy
counting
to
at 0,
spoil
they
it.
always start counting at 100.
There's been like more than 60 expeditions before us, so like a lot.
Okay, now you intrigued me.
Okay. So one thing I want to emphasize before we finally run things off is thank you, GamerForLife, for doing what you do in the past 10 years. It's been a tremendous factor in helping us grow our channels, in helping us find new podcast guests or like generally new content to check out. It's been a tremendous community service, and I find it incredibly unfair of YouTube to keep you demonetized, despite like all the efforts that you've made to show them that you know your content is transformative and work goes into it and it has a positive impact. And I wonder if we could do like a petition with all the PoE content creators to get you monetized again. Whether that would move things at Google if like 100 people signed it.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. I got Patreon though.
That's true. So you can be
Yeah, guys.
Argument.
Patreon. Quit your Patreon on Catmaster unless you're like one of the super
No,
hardcore
don't do
supporters.
that.
What?
No,
Quit your
don't say
Catmaster
that.
Patreon, go sub to GFL and give him all your money. Because I can't tell you when we're doing more podcasts, when we're doing more stream content about Path of Exile for the foreseeable future. I don't want to make any promises. It could be that I decide next week to hop onto LE and then right after I go back into PoE2. It could be that I'm not playing for a while. It could be that I'll be a variety gamer until Path of Exile 2 comes out fully or until something tickles my interest there. But I want to definitely thank Mark and Jonathan and the guys who left, Chris and Rishi and Rory and everyone who worked on Path of Exile over the years once again for these amazing 10 years together.
Heck yeah.
With GFL and all of you guys, and like FATED was a great run. We had highs and lows, and we had fun episodes. We had questionable episodes. We had ones where I was missing. Did we? No. Yeah, probably. We had ones where Bella was missing. We had all the shenanigans that you can imagine. And we're probably gonna do another episode 150. Bella and I have to sit together and really brainstorm and think about what we want to do with the future of FATED. But if we cut it off here, there might be a FATED 2. Anyway, bye everyone. Have a wonderful time. Check out the support possibilities for these wonderful creators, and we'll see you next time.